And a happy Wednesday morning to you. Welcome to the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato Caesar. Available in both original and variety 12 packs. A great pack size for entertaining and hanging out with friends. You get an original, extra spicy. You get a pickled bean. Go get yourself a Clamato later today. Joining us today on the Hangout, Tom Gazzola back on the Hangout. Been a little bit, but this Oilers homestand. They've just had a lot of games. They don't leave the country again until next week. So 2 more home games left until they hit the road. And then joining us, friend of EST from the Pipeline Show, Guy Flaming. Welcome back to the show, Guy.
Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Pipeline Show Mondays at 8, Saturdays at noon, right here in Edmonton Sports Talk, or just follow Guy on his socials or thepipelineshow.com for the quicker releases of the Pipeline Show, which usually comes out Fridays most of the time. So,
hey, quick question about Friends of EST. Eric Thomas calling it a career. Like, did that catch us off guard?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. No. So yesterday was actually the final Raceline Radio broadcast by Eric Thomas after 31 years of doing it.
Yeah.
He DM'd me a couple weeks ago saying, "Hey, just want to let you know that I'm retiring. 40 some years in broadcasting, just overall." 31 with Raceline Radio. He just said, just with the way things have changed and stuff in the media landscape and all of that, that now's the time to call it for him. So he's 71.
He is?
He's 71.
Wow, I didn't even know he was that old.
So, he called it quits, and we carried the last, his last show was actually yesterday right here on Edmonton Sports Talk. So congratulations, Eric Thomas, and great career, and we're very appreciative of him and all of our friends of EST for jumping on board with us. As we launch this new thing. But Eric Thomas coming to an end. The voice of racing in Canada.
Yeah, that's why I thought it deserved a little bit of love, and it was nice to have him as part of the EST lineup for at least, 3 months? Basically when we got going. Right?
He was almost the day one. Guy was the first one.
Guy, you were the first one.
He was the first friend of EST that we connected with. Raceline was about 3 or 4 in or something.
Yeah.
But he was. Him and I had a few chats in the summer, and then he had a couple of options in the Edmonton market, and he chose to
made the right choice
to come with us in EST. But now he's Raceline's to the. Well, I think he's hoping it continues. I think he's hoping someone will pick up Raceline and carry it on.
But he will not. But be the
he
host.
is now done, and I think there's a couple of best of shows that will run that we'll still have.
Nice.
But beyond that, he now will enjoy retirement. So
good job, Eric Thomas. Congratulations on a great run, man. That's a long time.
Based on my parents being retired now for a little bit, apparently retirement's fantastic. It is absolutely wonderful, and you have great days every day. You know.
Yeah. Unless you work for yourself, then you get no pension, and you never are allowed to stop working.
Yeah.
Boom, boom, boom.
Yeah.
Well, and radio's not exactly. It didn't have the best stuff either. So
no,
it did not. Time. So it's
no.
We didn't make the best career choices maybe in that sense, but we have fun doing what we do.
We have a great time.
Do we not?
Yes.
Let's Oil Kings. How many more games? Is it just?
They've got Swift Current on Friday and Regina on Sunday, and then they're off until after Christmas, and then they're on the road actually. So they're doing a BC trip with a stop in Everett, Washington, on that trip, and so they won't be back until mid-January.
Overall, we know that this team is supposed to be a little bit better than last year. We had Peart on a couple weeks ago.
Okay.
He thinks that in the second half, you're going to see the team really start grabbing some wins and improving. What have you made of the Oil Kings so far this season?
Yeah, they're good, and they're better, but they're not healthy ever. This team has not played a game where they've had everybody that they're supposed to have in their lineup available. They've got literally a third of their starting roster on the shelf, and not just for 1 or 2 games, but for week to week is the updates.
Yikes.
On these guys. So they're
Christmas break can't come soon enough.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, they have a guy named Adam Yako who could be a first-round pick this year. He's been hurt for a month. Can't go to the World Juniors to play for the Czechia because he's on the shelf. And they've got lots. Their sick bay is very crowded right now.
That's never a good thing.
No.
And in the juniors, it's hard to how do you replace those guys necessarily, right?
Exactly. AAA players.
And so they're completely out of their depth almost. Largely, are they not? Then, if they're coming up into the dub.
Well, they're looking around the league and trying to bring guys in who are expendable on every other team.
Oh, okay.
Giving up late round draft picks to get them. But what are you getting? You're getting guys who are expendable on every other team. So you're not you're plugging holes basically, and that's about all they can do right now.
And even though they're late, like, are the Oil Kings really wanting to give up late picks right now?
Nope.
Is that okay? Yeah,
that would not be their preference.
In that scenario, like, this is the first thought that came to my mind. If you're and listen, I know Kurt is trying to do whatever he can to make sure his team survives and gets through this stretch until the break, so guys can get healthy and be back in the lineup. But I would think that in a scenario like that, I would probably want to go to, if I have a couple of call-ups that are available in the stable, whether it's via Junior A or midget trips. I think if you call up those guys, the motivation from them to give you something and to chase that dangling carrot in front of them would be better than going and picking up some scraps. No offense to those players from other teams around the WHL.
Sure. Well, thankfully for them, they have a number of players playing at NAX here in Edmonton. Yeah. So they've been able to bring up a few of those guys for 2 or 3 games, and then they send them back.
Yeah.
And they have a goaltender who's playing up in Grand Prairie, that a young guy, again, I think he'll probably, I don't know, I'm not inside the room, but wouldn't be surprised if he's their full-time backup after Christmas. Or after the new year, so we'll see.
I just bring that up because I like that scenario from a mental standpoint, where you got these guys who were in the system already, and it's not just, hey, you're signed by the Oil Kings, and well, I'll never play with them till maybe I make the team out of training camp next year or something like that. As opposed to, hey, there's guys that are injured, they might need me, and sure enough, these guys are getting those opportunities. I like that.
It gives those players a taste of the WHL too. So. Kind of a leg up for Mr. Simpson, a leg up for their start next season as well, just to have a bit of an experience at this level.
Yeah.
Pat Room's bib says Guy Flaming is much more informative than Guy Fieri. So just
I
want to
agree.
throw that out there.
We actually, I could do a Guy Fieri for Halloween, like if I just got
I can see, because you got the beard. You have to grow the beard
we have
a
the
little
same
more.
sort of eyes, like. Yeah, I've had people tell me I look like Guy Fieri.
His hair is not real, right? Please tell me that.
Bigger than him, though.
Yeah. Well,
I can take you, Guy Fieri. I'll take you out.
It's not what I was saying, but I've been to Flavortown too, maybe a little too often.
That hair is totally not real, and I've noticed people have been saying Guy Fieri lately, and it's like, when did this change? So you're my Guy Fieri.
Oh, that's sweet.
Thank you.
Always Guy, not Guy.
Yeah, I know.
That's a joke. No, that's my point. Like, I will always defend the geese out there, not the guys out there. They don't know what they're talking about. They don't know how to pronounce their own name. That's just how it comes down to. EDN also, I think, Adin says Oil Kings are the best team against top teams, or they're at their best when they play against top teams. Also asking, any idea why they traded their captain? And I noticed they have a new goalie? Question mark.
Yeah, well, I think Beckett Lankow is there. He's the goaltender that they added. I think he's there basically for a month. He is an 03, so as a 20-year-old, you can only have 3 of them on your active roster. The Oil Kings right now have 4, including him, but 2 of them are on the shelf.
Yeah.
One of them's done for the year. So when the other guy comes back, they'll probably have to make a move. And I would, at this point, I would guess Beckett Lankow would go back to Spruce Grove and play for the Saints, and that's why Hudson Perry, the goalie up in Grand Prairie, I expect would be the guy that comes in to be the number 2. They traded Rhett Melnick. He was a guy who, I think, he was a good player. He never reached beyond that. Good kid, though. And they sent him to Saskatoon, who's going on a run. They're one of the best teams in the entire league. So I think it was a good move for Rhett Melnick. And the Oil Kings did all right in that trade. So I think it was good for both.
Deadlines comes up pretty quick in WHL after the Christmas break, right?
Yep.
I guess a 2-part here then. Like, are the Oil Kings going to be really active? Is this like, is there pieces to sell off, or are they kind of just...
They could if they want to. I don't know. That's a tough one this year for Kurt Hill because of all the injuries. Do you really tear it down? Do you want to have some sort of atmosphere in your room where you're not given up on the season? Mm-hmm. I mean, last year they were dead last in the league. Right now they're not dead last, but they're second to last. But I don't know that they're going to contend for a playoff spot. They're already 10 points out. But do you want to have some good feeling, positivity in the room going into next year? I could see an argument for both sides of that. Do you think they trade off?
Is there a way to do a mix, like trade a couple pieces but still stay in it, or is it like that's just too much to try to get done?
I'd say, Guy, do they have guys that are, do they have 20s that would be better served moving on? Do they have guys that are kind of indifferent to the situation the team is in right now that could be better served somewhere else?
Yeah.
If there's a couple of those, then move them out for assets. But if everyone's kind of buying in and the mentality is good, then keep that group around going into next year, because I know this year is supposed to be a bit of a bounce back, and they've had some really good moments this year, but it's been tough in general, like you alluded to. Next year is the year where they're really supposed to hit the ramp hard, right?
I would expect, yeah. Marc Lajoie is a defenseman. He's a 20-year-old. His father is one of the coaches on the staff. He's been arguably their most consistent player this year as a veteran. You expect him to be one of those guys. Happens to be leading them in scoring right now, too. Which I don't think was expected. Could you move him? Probably. Will you? I don't know, because he's a local guy and his dad's on the coaching staff. But players, maybe 20s are also tough to trade.
Yeah, that's true.
Because everybody's pretty much maxed out their allotment of them. But 19-year-olds, potentially. I could see a guy like Nathan Pilling, who, again, he's been in and out of the lineup this year. I thought he could score 25 to 30 goals. He's only got 5, but it's because he's only played 15 games or something. But got banged up in the last game. Not sure what the update is on him. But maybe he's a guy who would benefit from a contending team looking at him and thinking, well, there's a guy we could probably stick into our top or middle 6 and get some secondary scoring from. Somebody like that I could see maybe. But I don't think they'll be super busy, put it that way.
Yeah.
Last year, Connor Bedard was the big story. Will they not trade him, Pats? We got big trades.
Yeah.
Like, is there certain players that do you think everyone in WHL is watching for? Is this one of those years where there's a couple guys that like all teams are going to be hunting, or is this maybe a little quieter?
I think there are a lot more buyers than there are sellers. Yeah. The parity in the WHL this year is really. I love parity because you don't know who's going to win from night to night. From first place to out of the playoffs in each conference is like 10 points or something, maybe 15. And I might be a little out of date. I've been busy the last month. But I think because there's so much demand, I don't know that there's a lot of teams who are selling off. There's one, Edmonton and Kamloops are the only two that are really probably looking like they're out of the playoff picture at the moment. And there's still lots of hockey to come. We'll see. I would see Kamloops maybe having 2 or 3 guys. They did just trade Fraser Minton about 2-3 weeks ago. But that's about it. And even the Blazers, I don't see a whole lot of guys there that they would move at this point that would be big names.
Why is the trade deadline so early? Like, is there a specific reason as to why it happens this, like, the season ends earlier than the NHL season. Like, it's usually mid to late March, the season ends, so it's not going into April or something. But is there a reason that, like, the trade deadline is, like, right into the early January? Is there...
There probably is. I don't know what it is, though.
Okay.
Do you? It might have something to do with education, like schooling. Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
That's what would come to mind for me.
Because it's still well in advance of
And-
NHL trade deadline. Like, if you went to the beginning of February, you're not messing with NHL trade deadline where teams might be like, I know where my prospects are type thing.
You got to keep in mind, too, that the WHL season starts, 3 weeks before the NHL season?
Yeah, mid to late September.
Yeah.
About the 22nd.
Yeah, so there's that element, too. So it does seem for us that are just acclimated to the NHL schedule that the WHL's trade deadline does come a little bit early.
The fact that high school semesters start and end in late January, though, can't be a coincidence, right?
Yeah, that would make sense then. You like exam season. Maybe it's also like usually that's exam season. Like the mid part of January is when you have to go do it. So they don't want to mess with kids. I'm preparing for my Science 30 class or whatever, my big exam, and I'm dealing with the Kamloops Blazers just traded me to Vancouver Giants, and I got to deal with all of this happening. So maybe that would make a little bit of sense. I could see that.
Okay. Yeah.
But then going February, maybe I don't know. That's I just always found that, like, especially now when if there's a parity, we see this sometimes in other sports too, where it's just like, well, you want a couple of other teams to sell off or like to fall off so that they could sell to make trade deadlines a little more exciting. If no one's selling,
true.
And you're all sitting there, and so. Trade deadlines are always fun. I always love the WHL one because sometimes I forget when it's happening, but then there's always like all these big trades, and like there's the trades involve like picks for next year and the year after. Like they're these wild, complex deals sometimes, and they're just so much fun to see play out because they have such impact over the next 3 years for these franchises.
Yeah. But right now in both conferences, there's like 4 or 5 teams who are legit thinking, well, we could probably go for it this year, but nobody's selling. So
one other thing that popped up in regard to like maybe that there's a little bit more extra cushion in the deadline being earlier. Maybe it is school. I know somebody might know better than I would. Mooner, if you're listening. But the other thing too, like logistically, this isn't like the owner's sending a jet that he has a part ownership of to get you and your family to bring you to your new city. Like there's the billet thing. There's, how far do you have to go? Are you going from Brandon to Vancouver or something like that? Get all set up with the new family. If you're in school, like I would feel that some of that might add some time, not a ton, but might add some logistics to it that makes it a little more complicated as opposed to a pro trade where you basically pack up and leave in a matter of afternoon or something like that.
There's definitely red tape if you get traded to an American team as well, because then you got to get your work visa or whatever it is at the junior hockey level. But there are guys who do get traded and then it's like 3 weeks before they actually get to play.
Yeah. It's different. They're kids. Right? They're still kids.
Well, it's got to be such a weird feeling, like to be traded and stuff.
There's a play-by-play guy in the league right now who is waiting to get his clearance so he can move down to the States and get back to work. He's basically like a free agent.
Oh, really?
He got married in the off season to an American girl, and she works for an American-based team. And he just has not got his work visa sorted out yet. Man. It's been like 6 months.
So they're without play-by-play guy, or they just have a temp?
The guy who was there has been there. He's ready to retire. Basically,
I see what happens. Yeah. No, it's always just a different thing. I think our fourth guest is here today. Look at this, fully with the sports coat on and everything.
Look at this.
From the real world.
Joining us also today on the Hangout, it is Dash from Oilers Live on the Heavy Hockey Network, which you can catch live right here on Edmonton Sports Talk, 5 o'clock on Wednesdays, which means tonight. You could catch it. I'm going to get you in the camera, don't worry. So you're not just going to be cut off. And he's got the kicks with it, too.
The Jordan's going.
This text Tommy and him are making us look a little little underdressed.
I'm wearing a pullover and jeans.
You look sharp.
Yeah,
that's a nice sports
Tommy's
coat.
underdressed. I'm overdressed, I would say.
No, you look good. That's a good look.
We're both in the hair club for men, though, so that's good.
Right. Hey, man. Guy, long-time listener, first-time texter here.
All right.
Good to have you. Nice to meet you.
Oh, that's Dave and I always had the favorite long-time texter, first-time listener. That's our favorite.
Yes, I know those people.
Absolutely favorite one.
Yeah.
Where if you ever say that, like you're gonna catch people go, "What did he say?" And like, yeah, I said that. Don't worry.
But then there's some texts that come in from some people. They're like, I don't think you're really listening right now. I think you're just starting to cause crap on purpose. It happens. Yeah.
You got a little feisty yesterday in the postgame. There was one person that came at you.
I heard that.
Haters gonna hate, man.
Tommy's standing his ground.
Can't please them all. I had people text me the other day. They're like, "What did you do to this guy?" And I'm like, "Where's this from?" Some message board. I'm like, "I don't know, man. I don't care."
I gotta like Cassian trolling the pregame show too. He was
Cass,
in the chat.
It was great because like on our interface, when like where Maddie and Trev set it up, like you can watch the show live. There's a bit of a delay on the YouTube channel, but as soon as we said bye to Cass after Game Changers yesterday in the pregame, I saw him sticking around, and I'm like, I'm trying to read text. I'm trying to do updates from around the league. We're getting some clips ready to play as well. And then I click back into our interface, and there's Cass like furiously, frantically typing away, and he could see like he was thinking, and I'm like, oh, what is he doing? And I went back to the nasty chat, and he's just going back at people, and I'm like, this is good. And then I look at him again. And I'm like, oh, I think Cass is still in the nasty chat. And I could see him laughing and smiling. It was good, but I didn't know I'd be poking the bear that much with the analytics rant. Someone brought it up.
Because you were at practice and you missed 2 guys.
Yeah. That was at the rink.
Yeah, no. So you missed what happened there and Cass going off, and then somebody texted in and you just set that fire not knowing what was happening. You didn't know there was gas on the garbage or whatever, and you just threw the match on there and went boom.
Am I the only one who doesn't know
what happened was Dusty pointed out there's some analytics account out there yesterday that with the analytics said that Zach Hyman is one of the favorites to win the Hart Trophy this year based on advanced numbers and stuff. Not Connor McDavid, it would be Zach Hyman. And then for the Calder Trophy, not involved in it at all is Connor Bedard.
Top eight, but Bedard's not in there.
He's not in the conversation.
Oh, thank God he's top eight.
Based on these numbers, Connor Bedard wouldn't be in the conversation for top rookie in the National Hockey League.
Great analytics.
And Cass has his issues with the analytics crowd where he...
Period.
I think if I want, I don't want to speak too much for Cass here. I think Cass looks at analytics and goes, "It's a tool. There's a value to it, but it's not end all be all."
Right.
Fair.
And he takes his shots at analytics every so often, and then he called it, VR Montenegro saying essentially analytics are a cult. Yes, that Cass went fully saying analytics are a cult. You're right, conform or be banished or whatever, and he went off of that, and
then he threw the bait out there in the chat and set his hook and just reeled.
Well, Tom pushed him, got him going. No, again, you didn't know what was going on.
No,
you just read this text. It went. Cass went off. This one person then came into the nasty chat, just going at Cass, going analytics, basically going with everything Cass says about people that defend analytics, saying it's a cult. Like this guy was like, conform or you're an idiot. And so Cass went this whole, spent his time after while Tommy's finishing up the show. And Cass is just in the nasty chat going at this person, having a great time. And we just see Cass just laughing and he's just having a good time. And
he's like,
but yeah, so according to Cass, analytics are a cult, conform, or be banished.
I'm not wired that way. I'm not a big... Not that I am poo-pooing on analytics. I'm like you. I think they do have value, but it's not the be-all, end-all, as you said. I'm not wired that way. I can't watch a hockey game and try to figure out all the fancy stats. I don't know. It kind of takes away. I think for a lot of people, it adds to the game.
Yeah.
But for me, it takes it away.
Hockey's a beautiful picture, right? And in order to paint that picture, you need all the colors on the palette. And I feel like analytics is just like one of those colors in the palette.
Yeah.
And, it can help you paint a picture, but you can't just use that color.
That's a good way of looking at it.
And it has jagged edges, too. There's not a lot of flowing straight lines at all times. Abstract.
But then that's
Nail the flow, Tommy.
Like I said, with the eye test, there's no guarantee that your eye test is right either, and that's like it's never going to be perfect. Analytics are never going to be perfect
for sure.
But
except in baseball,
static sport.
Yep,
they're pretty good in baseball.
Static sport.
They are like that's it. It's
stops and starts.
Yeah, every play.
In the exact
X amount of outcomes.
There's the only thing that's really is wild is the ball bouncing, off a wall or something. That could be a little weird.
Jose Canseco's head.
Yeah, that's
amazing play, by the way, to this day.
But yeah, it's
stand the test of time.
Largely,
really.
It's 1v1 too. Like take the defenders out of it. That's only if the ball is hit into play do they come into the result of that play. Otherwise, variables. It's pitcher going up against batter, and so it's a lot easier to do. Where with hockey, there's just how do you quantify chemistry?
You can't isolate the catalysts.
There's just something about sometimes players play well together. And I don't know how you quantify the idea that just some guys could think well with each other.
Yeah.
And they've got that, and you're just never going to be able to put that in a number. But at the same time, the numbers do matter to help maybe make that trade, or is this player trending in the right way, or I don't know, like for Jesse Puljujarvi for a number of years was an analytics darling where he's doing the right things in certain spots. I think I don't know if Connor Brown's a good analytics darling right now.
I don't think he's good in any category right now except for posts and goals disallowed.
Helping on the penalty kill a bit.
Yeah, that is true.
Which is a big part of their success.
Yes, very much so. 2 for 2 again last night. I was going to say one more thing about analytics. It'll come back to me. I'll bring it. But anyway, continue.
You hate analytics?
No. I was going to
How much does it become a part of your day, Guy? You're looking
at... It doesn't. My day-to-day, I don't look at analytics. I see all the numbers and the categories. I don't know what half of them mean. And I'm not saying, again, if that's what excites some viewers to watch games, hey, God bless you. It's just not how my brain is wired.
What's out there for junior analytics? Can you access
the
same type
I don't know
of
how much there is.
And
like the WHL's website, I don't think gets into all those.
Yeah.
I'm not sure who actually supplies it.
Right.
Yeah. Remember
with the big stuff,
Steve
NHL
from
Edge
the Oil
or whatever.
Kings? Steve?
Yes. Shuddy?
Yeah. He kind of did
he
his
did a
own
bunch.
working with the coaching staff and management, right?
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah.
And I believe the
that's
junior
wild.
teams are using a different company than the NHL for their microchips and their
Okay.
stat
Do
tracking.
they have
as well.
microchips and stuff too?
They're starting, yeah. A friend of mine is actually, his brother is the one whose company is doing it. We're going to try and have him on our show, actually. Can we find it would be pretty fascinating to see how they're going to track that and what they're going to use it for in the junior world, you know? Like, think of how that can change your combines, if you will, you know, for when you know exactly what a guy's average speed is on the ice. And I think it could be very valuable.
That stuff is really neat.
perhaps.
And like the stuff that we see on the broadcast.
Yeah, I'm
is
not
like,
talking Corsi 4. I'm
No,
talking, you know,
But like
shot speed, average speed.
That stuff's really cool. And I guess the amount of stuff that they have access to, like the teams do and the NHL from all the technology they've integrated into every building is pretty robust. But, you know, I think the broadcasts have dialed it back a bit. We see the shot speed every now and then. We see who skated the fastest or whatever. But they have way more metrics that is being tracked right now that is not public. And then the other thing I was going to say about analytics is we had a good conversation last season in the press box, talking to some brass. I think it was just from the Oilers, not from the other team that was in that night. And they were saying that there are some pretty good analytics sites out there, but even like the best ones that are available publicly do not measure the same amount of stuff that they have internally.
Because the teams are paying for everyone.
Yeah.
Now. They've gone and hired some of the best analytics people I think that there are.
Yeah.
That used to do it more publicly to
There's
come in house.
What was Belzy talking about? That when after the games they can go and immediately log in and see a higher
There's
level.
In real time.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah. I think Belzy has access to that.
He
site.
does, yeah. He was talking
Yeah.
about it in
Yeah.
Hello Hockey.
He was showing it to me. And I think Cass has a different one, but
Yeah, Cass got something.
yeah.
Some sort of company.
yeah. But the one Belzy has, it's like, oh man, that's too many numbers for right after a game for a guy like me. But it is cool because you're like,
Yeah.
dun, 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 dun. You're like,
somebody
wow,
knows what to do
already.
with it.
Yeah.
It kind of comes down to me just like fan versus, you know, whether you want to be GM coach type thing. Like sometimes as a fan, I could do without the numbers in sports because it's just, I'm there to watch the game for what it is. I don't need to know, you know, I'm a soccer guy right now. I don't really know the analytics of soccer. I don't need to know how many chances Bruno Fernandes is creating for Manchester United. I just know that they're trash right now, and I'm upset with Bruno Fernandes and the rest of the team. And I just want to be a fan. And I just want to enjoy this game and be either excited that they won or pissed off because they lost. And I don't care about like the numbers at this point. Sometimes it's just nice to be the fan of you know why we got into these
You don't
sports.
want to analyze their hybrid zone defense and how many odd man rushes.
Don't need all those things
high
sometimes.
danger
No,
chances against.
no, that has its time and place. But you know, during the game, sometimes I like to just be in certain things, just the fan again.
Yeah.
Just
Yeah.
and I just want to watch, enjoy, cheer, boo, all that stuff, get angry.
There was one a couple of weeks ago, and I'm not picking on Austin Hockey. I just remember Austin Hockey chimes in, watches the post-game show, pre-game sometimes. We were talking about Evan Bouchard. I think it was at the start of this unbelievable run that he's on right now. And the stat was something, he had an expected goals for per 60 at like 62% or something like that. And he's like, oh, guys, Austin was like, guys, his defense isn't that bad. Like his expected goals for per 60, 62%. It's like, okay, hang on. Yes,
Sure,
you're
spend
going to get
62% of the time in the other end
you're going
doing
to get
whatever.
those goals. Yeah, but
You
you're
can't give up.
you're
the
giving up
10 bell chance.
delicious deep
30
dishes in
seconds
your
you're
own
back.
crease. Like it's unbelievable. So there was that discrepancy, but it created a really good conversation. So the other thing too is like I think analytics, like it's not as obnoxious as it used to be. Remember there was the battle, like
There was huge MSM versus analytics battle for a long time.
sure.
and that's finally died off, which is nice. And now there's at least some harmony, right? Which is a good thing. Yeah, so it's just, and it's another way for people to understand the game.
Yeah.
And people, some understand sports better by looking at numbers. And guys like me, yeah, it's like, numbers confuse me and they hurt my brain. What are the main
Rashad.
ones? Goals, assists, points, penalty minutes,
Wins, losses.
wins, losses.
Kind of important.
Are they good? Are they bad? No. How many shifts do you guys like? Time on ice, I think, is an important one too. I really like time on ice because I think it gives you and offensive zone time.
You're just slowly adding. I love Corsi, and I love goal scorer percentage.
I like Corsi relative.
How do you quantify attitude and like
Heart.
you give a shit factor and stuff?
Well,
like
you
that?
go to
Sorry,
NHL
swear
24
again.
and you look at what EA Sports
As
made
long
it.
as it's not the upward key.
Yeah, that's how you do it.
Yeah.
Potential. Oh, this is only a 46. That's BS. No, I'm kidding.
Yeah.
When it came to that battle analytics versus MSM type thing, the biggest thing that hurt the analytics. They needed more people. Like they didn't like Tyler Dell was very smart.
Yeah, he was
he's very
the other day.
Yeah, he was, but combative with people.
Oh, yeah.
Or they needed more Alan Mitchell's as analytics to be the face
world
of it.
needs more Alan
Like that's the
Mitchells.
thing. Like more low ties to like bridge the gap and offer the olive branch type thing.
Beautiful people.
That's
great
what
guy.
they needed to just make low tide the face and let him talk for the analytics crowd, and
that
it would have
beautiful
been
voice.
we would
That's true.
have bridged the gap a lot sooner.
Yeah.
I think Tyler played a little bit of a character on
Oh, yeah,
Twitter.
absolutely.
I met the man, and he's not exactly the guy he was or portrayed
really?
to be on Twitter. And he was combative on Twitter, and I had Fidel Castro as his avatar for a long time, and so
I actually worked with him when he was with the Oilers.
he's
So
a different guy in person.
I was like, this is Tyler Dello.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly.
what's going on here? He's very friendly.
Yeah,
We got along just fine.
yeah,
Yeah, it was weird.
and Bruce and Alan would say the same thing.
Yeah.
Like, they really thought the guy was great and smart. And where's he? New Jersey now?
Yep.
Yeah,
With the Devils.
He's
Been there a long
They
time,
seem to be
hasn't
doing
he?
okay.
For the Devils?
It's been a few seasons now, at least.
I think 4?
Oh, I thought it was even more
3
than
or
that.
4.
Because was he before the Devils? Was he anywhere, or was he just silent
He was
for a
with
while?
the Oilers until like
was a gap
2016.
because Aikens brought him in.
Yeah, and then I think he lasted the first or second year into Todd McClellan because I think he had a 3-year. I don't know how long his
Yeah,
contract.
I just can't remember if there was a stop in between New Jersey or not.
He was-
because I
he
remember
was
then
here.
New Jersey got hired him, and it was
somewhere around 17, 18, I think. Tyler got
14,
hired.
15 with the Oilers, and then he showed up in New Jersey in 19, 20.
Yeah.
There's a gap in
Yeah.
between with nobody.
Yeah.
He's probably doing private consulting and stuff, I'm sure.
Yeah.
working on his own numbers.
But,
just
like,
his
he
thing.
was-
Does with Puckpedia.
There was a difference between how Dallas and his coaching staff used the numbers provided when they hired Tyler as opposed to what Todd and his coaching staff did. And I remember Tyler was in town a lot and around the team a lot more with Dallas, and then a different philosophy with Todd and Woody, and they had their own thing, I think, but they would still use Tyler to a lesser extent, but he wasn't as around as much, from what I remember. So
Let's be honest, Tommy, everything Dallas did was a little bit different than the rest of the
valid point. He's a
Swarm
different
defense.
cat.
See the news on him from a couple weeks ago?
No,
Him-
what happened?
he's in Germany.
Yeah.
Head coach and
no
GM.
way. Oh,
Head coach,
right,
GM
and
hired
GM?
and GM out in Germany. I think Germany.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Good for him.
Germany
He's
or
a nice,
Switzerland,
He's a
something
nice
like
guy.
that, yeah.
Like, I got along fine with him too. There's not a lot of people I don't get along with.
Yeah,
but
I'm not a fan of Dallas Aikens at all.
I thought you were going to say I'm not a fan of you, Tom.
How could you not?
That's what I thought you were going to
can't
say.
please them all, Gee. Maybe he's the one ripping into me on the nasty chat.
I know I can find a couple people that don't like Tommy. There's not a lot.
In other
but
news, donut sales down in Germany 2%.
Yeah.
no, he's a fraud. I'm not a fan of Dallas at all. He's a complete
Careful.
fraud, and he
That takes hot.
tells you what you want to hear, and I can't stand the guy. And I told this one story. Like, there's the two stories I have where I don't respect the guy for this. Afterwards, everything. But on his final press conference after being fired by the Oilers, he said, "My family loves it in Edmonton. We're going to stay in Edmonton until I get my next job." And 2 weeks later, he was moved to Vancouver already. Like, just
Yeah, that's true.
BSing the city of Edmonton. Like, I don't like that stuff. And then that trade deadline, I believe it wasn't the year later. I think it was that trade deadline. We're at 1260. There was at the time a TSN radio network across the country.
Right.
And thank you. At the time, it was run by the people in Vancouver before they got shut down. And they had hired Dallas Aikens to do hits across the network for trade deadline day.
Okay.
And
Awesome.
they emailed our boss and I and said, hey, like, he could do hits. And my boss and I are like, he just got fired by the Oilers. Like, he's not going to do Edmonton radio. And they go, no, he's good to do it. And I'm like, well, if we have him on, we got to talk with the Oilers. Like, he just got fired by the team this year. Like, we can't not talk Oilers with Dallas. And like, no, he says he's completely good. You guys can. So like, okay, cool. We'll have Dallas part of our trade deadline coverage. We'll have a couple hits with him throughout the year. And then the day before trade deadline, we got the email saying he's out of Edmonton. He's not doing Edmonton.
Wow.
I'm like, well, we gave you the out weeks ago. We knew this wasn't going to happen. We asked, like, are you sure that he's good? You guys talked to him. He said yes, and now he's saying no. So I have no time for Dallas Eakins. None whatsoever.
And see, now that gives people an understanding as to why.
Context.
There's the context.
I knew I had no time for Dallas Eakins. Now I just have a justification for it.
No, it's
now
fully.
I can feel better about it.
Why? You could also just go with swarm defense. If you're an Oilers fan, you could just say swarm defense, and you're good to go. So
Devin Dubnyk had the best line when he came back here with Minnie, and now that he's retired and he's in the media, I think it's okay to share this one. But we did the scrum with him. He was great as always. And then we put the mics down, and all the cameras went away, and we started talking to him. And I think Speck was like, "So you got the Oilers tonight?" And he goes, "Yeah." You actually have to prepare for them. They're a good team. This was 16-17. And we started laughing. And then someone's like, what, no swarm defense? And Doobie's like, oh, is that the one where all 5 guys go to the puck and they leave a couple of guys alone in front? Yeah, loved it. And again, lots of laughing. And we had a good 5-10 minute chat with him. But that's the kind of guy. Yeah, Dallas almost destroyed Devin Dubnyk.
Wow.
Yeah. Sean Burke saved them.
He did.
Sean Burke's done an amazing job with some goalies, and I'm stunned that he's not like a higher, more sought-after guy. Because there was a period of time where he was without a job.
Yeah.
And it made no sense to me.
He did some Hockey Canada stuff.
He did, but
He's with the Golden Knights now.
But he is now.
Yeah.
But there was a period where he left Arizona, I think, and there was a situation where nobody was, I think, because he wanted a little bit of a higher role, but no one was touching him in the NHL, and it was like this, throw your money at this dude.
But then
if
Ron
you're a
Hextall
team that
gets hired.
doesn't have, your goaltending's not historically strong, go get Sean Burke because he has proven it.
Mitch Korn
Time
deserves
and
some
time.
credit in Nashville there too, because he went over, and I heard Doobie say that it was Nashville that rebuilt his confidence, but Arizona that rebuilt his skill. So, playing for Trotz and Mitch Korn there, I think that was the ability to be able to play at a higher level again before Burke did his tweaks. So,
And
not saying it wasn't
Because
Burke,
after Nashville, though, he did go to Montreal and didn't see a sniff of Habs time in that very short stint.
He walked away from the Habs. Him and his wife were having their first child. Things were at the depths of despair for Devin, and then he just took some time away, which worked out. And then also you talk about Mitch Korn, and then we talk about Sean Burke, and then you know who nurtured his career the rest of the way to 3 straight All-Star appearances? Freddie Chabot in Mini. And Freddie was here last week with the Wild, still there. And you'll remember Freddie was the scapegoat and got fired when things were getting really bad before they finally got rid of Dallas.
Did they go from Chabot to
Schwartz?
Schwartz,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Right.
This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato, Caesar, Dash, Matt, Guy, and Tommy with you here. Later in the second hour of the Hangout, actually, we got a little contest. We got a pair of Oiler tickets to Oilers Lightning that we'll give away.
Yeah.
That's coming up. Also, I will announce later, I haven't done this yet, but the winner for the Nasty Club, the chance to join the Hangout, we have the draw winner for the month of November, so I will announce that in a bit. But let's get to Movers and Shakers, which is brought to you by Marco and Mike Realty One Group Insider. Let Marco and Mike earn your trust. If you're buying or selling a home, give them a chance. MarcoandMike.com for more information on this dynamic duo. We're getting closer to the World Juniors. How's Canada going to be this year? Is that a dumb question every year just because Canada should always be good, or is it is there real ups and downs that can
The U.S. is getting so much stronger.
The U.S. and the Swedes are the favorites this year.
Are they?
Yeah, Canada is probably third, I would think, and that's reasonable contention to be at least on the podium and in the conversation. But the Americans look pretty strong, and I had a guest on last week who sold me on the Swedes, so they look to be the 1-2 right now.
That show.
What happened to what's happened to the U.S. that they've been strong for a few years now in a row?
Well, it's the hothouse program. The development program is it's unbelievable for producing and developing. I mean, you play with the same guys for 2 solid years in formative years in your U17 and U18 season, and then they play against collegiate opponents. So you're playing against guys who are up to 4 or 6 years older than you are on a fairly regular basis. It's really good for development.
Yeah. Look at the Zegras, Caulfield,
Totally.
That whole Hughes, those guys were all playing together, and look at them now.
Yeah, there was I think it was the Spit and Chicklets guys. They said like because of the goaltending part of this, but if we get to a best on best tournament again, they like the Americans' chances over Canada's because they also have like all those goaltenders. But America's really built like a lot of solid top end NHL players, maybe more than that they've had in the past, and a full round team that like away from the World Juniors. If we went to the NHLers and stuff, like they would really Canada and US would be a tough series because they are producing them. So
it's Canada and the U.S. have been on equal terms, I would think, probably for 15 years now. Well, you go back to what was the World Cup, 96, the Mike Richter year?
Yep. Since
then.
Canada's got the 2 gold medals, though, you know. In the world at the Olympics, just take that, the U.S. So who are the big guys to watch for Canada this year? Probably because like we had Bedard for how many? Like because there was like the 16 of them that happened in Edmonton in the 1 year.
That was weird.
You know, who are we looking at? Big names for Canada.
Yeah, I don't have the rosters in front of me. No. Matthew Savoy should actually make the team this year, and I would expect him to be one of the offensive leaders. And Connor Geeky's had a really good year. Teammates in Wenatchee now, which still sounds weird to say. But those guys, I think there'll be a lot of WHL forwards. Jagger Furcus, I think, could be a guy who leads the way offensively. Well, Macklin Celebrini, I mean, he's going to be the first overall pick and really will, I think, be Canada's most dangerous and effective player. I guess my question is in goal for Canada at this point, but it's going to be a fun team to watch. The tournament's always entertaining.
My co-host on Oilers Live is from Halifax, so he would be remiss if I didn't mention that the goalie's from Halifax this
Rousseau.
year. Who's our goalie from the West? That's going to be
I'm trying to remember. I don't have the
Scott
roster in front of me.
Retzlaff. That's right. So they're both a little undersized then.
Yeah,
you know, and that can
Rousseau's not drafted. Retzlaff is a 5th round pick, I believe, something like that.
Buffalo.
So they don't have like that. The guy who's supposed to be like a
Spencer Knight or that, you know,
one of those type of players.
Chip, yeah.
But they did it last year with Thomas Milic, who was the guy that Retzlaff is replacing in Seattle. So you don't always need to have a first overall or a first round pick as your netminder.
I mean, hockey's trending that way anyways, is it not? Honestly, look at the NHL and you look at, you know, you can have it, I believe, tell me if I'm wrong, but an average to above average netminder and win a Stanley Cup. They did it with Kemper. They've done it with Niemi. They've done it with...
Yeah. Like you have the Vasilevsky that won for a couple of years. And he's almost now kind of turning into the outlier in that.
Name me the Stanley Cup winning goaltenders not named Vasilevsky in the last 6 years.
You go Binnington for a while, looked unbelievable, but he wasn't there. Matt Murray, who was huge, but then dropped off. And it's...
Before then, Niemi, average.
Yeah. Like there was... Lundqvist never won the Cup. You know, Carey Price never won the Cup.
True.
You know, Luongo never won the Cup. You know, and it is such a weird science that you have to get the guy who's going to be lightning in a bottle for 2-3 years and hope that he's on your team.
Hockey's just so advanced now. I mean, if you can put a system together and the right defense in place and the right, you know, quantifiable system for that team in front of a goalie, like, I mean, was Ullmark a all-star goalie before Boston made him one?
Right.
Like, I mean, it's a product of a system, right?
Yeah. He was a curious case. Remember when he was in Buffalo, people were like, well, we think he's pretty good.
He might be okay.
We're not sure.
Hard to say in front of Buffalo, dude.
Yeah.
Right? I think you really need 2 now as well. Like most teams seem to be going with a platoon system if they can.
1A, 1B, whoever's
that was the plan here, right, with the Oilers. Didn't work out that way. But certainly Boston is a prime example of that. Tampa would be the, as you call them, the outlier.
Is that WHL or CHL? Like, is there a lot of 2 tandems, or
I think it's starting to become like that. Most of the time, you'll have a 18 or 19-year-old starter or a young guy kind of coming up behind them. So a lot of times, it's guys in their draft year, their NHL draft season, that get to play maybe 20 games. So it's not a great showcase for them in their draft year. That's why I think we're seeing more 19-year-old goaltenders getting drafted. Because then they start getting to play a little bit more. But yeah, I think platoons are starting to be more prevalent at the junior level too.
It depends where that junior team is in its placement probably as well, right? Like you think of Sebastian Costa during their run. He's not given a backup a lot. Even Laurent Brossoit didn't in his day, but they still had Jarry.
But they had Jarry right there.
Right. They did bring him along when they had to.
Yeah. What a nice little run there.
I'm just looking at the Team Canada roster. The obviously camp roster. This is not a big, like stature, physical wise, big roster. There's a lot of 5'10s in here.
A couple of big defensemen.
And a couple, Lamoureux's 6'7",
Ooh.
and Noah Warren
boy.
6'6". But
Yeah.
Ty Nelson on defense, 5'10". Denton Matichuk, 5'11" on defense.
He'll be their best defenseman.
And then you go Denver Barkley, 5'9", Owen Beck, 6", Macklin Celebrini, 6. Some of them might still grow an inch or two. Easton Cowan, 5'10", Jordan Dumais, 5'9", Jagger Furcus, 5'11". 5'11" is a tremendous height, by the way. Paul Ludwinski, 5'11", Matthew Savoy, 5'10", Marcus Vidicek, 5'10", and then Braden Yeager, 6 feet. So usually, like, we're talking about guys who are like 6'2", 6'3", 180 up front where they can bang and crash. This is sounds like a skill team with a bunch of guys that can zip around and burn you with their speed and their precision.
Is that where the game's going, though? Hockey, potentially?
Yeah, that's true.
Like, moving forward. Like, it's like in basketball, it's the three-point shot now. It's not, going to the paint. It's not being in the arc. It's not as physical at all anymore. Like what once was. But now it's like, are we watching a sport now evolve where you're going to see that a lot more and more and more because it's about the skill. It's about the speed.
I think skill wins out.
Skill always wins out. You've got the edge work of, McDavid's out of this world, but if you got the edge work of McDavid, or you've got the shot release of Austin Matthews or Connor Bedard, where no matter what angle you're at, no matter what position you're in, no matter where your top hand is, bottom hand is, you get that off at 90 miles an hour, like, you're going to score goals. I don't care what league you're in.
That was a crazy shot last night.
I saw Connor try it 2 more times after and missed, right? Like, that says something right there when McDavid's like, oh, okay. Oh, yeah, I'll show you. No. Like, Bedard put that.
That was sick.
Only one spot he could put that. It was pretty impressive.
It's funny to watch him. Like, I was watching him in pregame skate yesterday in the morning. And, like, when he shoots, he does always, like, close his eyes.
Really?
Crazy. Yeah, he makes that, like, face where he's just, like, putting the power into it. And I saw it in pregame skate. I was like, oh, he does that all the time.
You know what? I bet you Tiger Woods could step up to the tee box and tee up a ball and close his eyes and hit it right down the middle of the fairway too, right? Like muscle memory and 10,000, reps on things.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Tiger back on the course soon. It's the father-son championship coming up. PNC.
Yes.
I think that might be this weekend. Him and Charlie out there. Charlie keeps getting older and older, and it's just... I don't know when he starts playing from the further back tees, but it's always fun to watch. I don't know.
Charlie's got some swag.
Oh, does he ever? Well,
he's got some swag.
When your dad's Tiger Woods,
Right.
you could walk around, I think, with a little swag. You're probably feeling pretty good about yourself and who you are and the bloodlines that you have. I'm Tiger's kid.
Yeah.
Things are pretty good when you're Tiger's kid.
Got a
You're kind
horse
of
in
like
your
a
backyard.
prince. Like you are kind of royalty, aren't you?
Is Dusty
Your sport
claiming
royalty.
that he can beat Charlie in a golf game like he was with LeBron's kid playing one-on-one? Or
I don't know. Ask him. He's somewhere around here.
I could not beat Charlie in a golf game. I can say that. I know that for a fact.
probably not since he was 9.
Yeah.
Not with that shoulder.
No, they will definitely not with this shoulder. So,
Wait a couple years.
but wait a couple years and he'll destroy me even more because he'll be older and he'll be better and I will just be gone. I wish I got into golf a little more as a younger kid. That's the one that it's just nice being on the course and just the sun, and even when you're bad, it's great.
Yeah.
I love it.
There's nothing like that feeling. I like those early morning tee times, right? When you're out at like 6:30 in the morning, you feel like you're in a course where you've got the hole to yourself, the course to yourself. Tommy waking up in the morning.
It's hard.
I'll meet you on the 3rd hole.
I wake up for
Bring a coffee.
4:30 to do the morning show. I hate life. Just can't stand life.
He's he's not too happy.
4:30 comes and the alarm goes off because I have golf. I'm not talkative still, but I wake up and I feel good. Wow. You get to the course, you open that door at the golf course, there's only a couple of cars, there's that little brisk in the air, birds chirping, sun's out. Oh, that is the best. You're done in like 3 hours and you still have the whole day ahead of you.
Yeah.
You get that 6 o'clock tee time, you're done by 9. Everyone's just waking up, starting their day. I've already done 18 holes of terrible golf. Now my day can begin.
Reed Wilkins and Evan Dom have dragged me out for a couple of like 6:58, 7:10 tee offs, and I'm miserable. I'm just like, what am I
You
doing?
can't be miserable for long with Reed, though.
No, they're both hilarious and they're great guys and they golf well, but like, it's the whole like you're talking about the birds chirping,
That's
the
great.
dew on the grass.
You don't
I'm
like that?
Oh, when is this stuff gonna dry up? Oh my! Why is it cold right now?
Somebody shut
up,
those birds.
Oh, squirrels now. Oh my! Get me another coffee. Like I'm you when you're here for work.
Why are you even so chipper in the morning for the show?
I don't know. It's weird. I get up.
Flips a switch.
Yeah,
Because he's all, like, he comes in and he's like, Matt, how are you?
Yeah,
Good
I talk to
morning.
him.
Hey, Howard. Like, did you have a good night last night? He's talking to me while I'm just looking at him with the death stare.
Yeah, he's just like.
And for, I guess, I've never golfed with you in the morning, so I guess we'll have to try that one year just to so I could give it back to you.
Yeah.
It is fun because you have to wait. Like, when you're putting on those greens, they're going to change throughout the morning.
Yeah.
Because the dew will, go away, evaporate, the sunshine, and then the greens change. So you got to be prepared for that. But that's the only negative. It's not even a negative.
You sound like
It's great.
You look forward to it.
I do. It is.
Yeah.
There is no better tee time than the first tee time of the day. I agree. Straight up.
If I owned a golf course, I would just give that to you every day. Take it, Matt.
I am saving that. So if you ever actually do own a golf course, I am taking that first tee time every day.
I hope I own a golf course at some point, and you can have it. Promise. I promise.
If I owned a golf course, I think I wouldn't have a lot of tee times open. I'd have very few.
What would you call your golf course?
Edmonton
Adventureland?
Sports Talk Golf.
Yeah. The EST experience. I don't know. I don't know.
Did you say Adventureland?
Adventureland?
I like my name better, Tommy.
Good movie.
It is a good movie.
It's a good movie.
Yeah.
Dusty, we need some more money. We're opening a golf course.
Buying a golf course.
Well,
and
the future
fixing
of
it.
Edmonton Sports Talk is one to buy the Shanks building.
Ooh.
And we're going to move into the Shanks
There's a
building.
process
And we're
here.
going to launch the bar, and it's going to take us down under because we're going to have gone. It's going to be the worst business decision ever, but we're going to want to do it still, and we're going to do that.
And we're not
But
renovating anything.
If that succeeds, then we could do the golf course, and that could take us down.
I mean, Eric's fans are waiting in the parking lot right now.
They're always there.
There's
Always
a golf course
there.
in that building, isn't there?
Mini
Yeah,
golf.
mini golf, yeah.
And they had some Sims 4 golf.
We'd have to upgrade with a TrackMan like our good
Bowling
friends
it.
at One Putt have.
The TrackMan's great.
Maybe we would.
I don't know how their
with One
bowling
Putt.
alley. Their bowling alley always broke down there, but it was fun.
Yeah, it
the
was fun.
pins
Yeah,
were always
a
on
couple
strings.
lanes, yeah.
They don't go anywhere. They just come up and stuff. And I miss Shanks.
We're
so
full of ideas.
much. It was the only time it was full was like a UFC fight night.
We used to
Always
do the
completely
draft
full.
from there. We used to do the draft shows from there.
Did you?
Yeah. We did 2 or 3 of them.
Like the NHL draft shows?
Yeah.
Oh, very cool.
On the radio.
I don't remember how the food was. I think we had a Christmas party there one year.
The food was
Puppy
never
food.
great.
You could
Yeah.
deep fry a
They
whatever
could-
you want, really.
They could do chicken tenders really well.
Yeah, exactly.
Beyond that, it was just average. But
It was a pub.
it was great.
It was a sports bar.
You're not there for the food. You're there for the horse betting, or that's where we did our CFL fantasy draft nights. It was the home for the Dunya.
You guys
Twice a
know-
year,
Yes, it
we'd
was.
show up and we would do our draft there, and then the other time of the year, we would do our winter AGM
So-
/ championship night. And there was we haven't found the place that's almost as good as that one, because it was also like you go in on a Monday night, it's completely like there could be a fair amount of people there.
Yeah.
But it's cavernous.
It was huge.
That
Right.
like you would have half the place just to ourselves
Yeah.
for me, JMO, McCord, Eric, and Lucas. That's it.
Yeah.
And we'd have a great time. We'd talk. We'd talk
Table
about
of 6, please.
we talk about James Wilder Jr.'s season and how big of a bust he was for Lucas that year. No one else is having a conversation in the world, but we're having it at Shanks. And it was wonderful.
Did the one in Calgary close?
I think it closed later. Like, I think it is now closed.
Oh.
But, like, I think it was during COVID, Shanks here closed. I don't think it was before.
I think it was before.
Was it? You might be right then. And then, then I think it closed. And then Calgary's went down because of COVID. I think that's kind of how it played
Damn.
out. But that one was still open for a bit when they closed this
I
one.
saw
here.
the Todd Marchant Oilers overtime winner against Dallas at the Shanks in Calgary.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, I watched that game there. I was on a business trip or something in Calgary. Went there. Didn't know anybody, but the bar was packed. And I was surprised at how many people were cheering for the Oilers. I thought everybody would be cheering for Dallas, but
I was surprised Marchand scored in a breakaway.
yeah, that too. That too.
Calgary has been known to jump on the Oilers bandwagon a little bit. They jumped in 06.
They
They
kind
got
of
behind it.
They kind of have like a sneaky appreciation for like. I was having this talk with Pat Steinberg, and late in the summer, I hopped on his show, and he's like, "It is Flames talk, but." We do end up chatting about the Oilers quite a bit in Calgary, and I was like, "Oh,
I've got friends in Calgary that'll listen and say there's more talk about the Oilers some days than there is about the Flames.
Yeah.
Really?
it's kind of." I didn't know this until Patty said it,
Yeah.
and I was like,
If Edmonton and Vancouver are playing in the playoffs, who would Calgary people be cheering for?
Vancouver.
They would, eh?
I would think so. I would think they'd it'd be anyone but the Oilers until the Oilers are the only ones left. Yeah. So like when the Oilers went on
Except
their
when it
run
was
against
Edmonton and
Carolina,
Dallas.
like Canadian wise, like if they're
Okay.
going up against Canadian teams, but like when the Oilers are going up against Carolina, Calgary was on board, which I found weird.
Yeah,
I didn't like
that
it.
is odd. Well,
you're the rival. Like it's
So when it was Calgary and Tampa, you were not cheering for
I
Calgary.
was
Full Tampa Bay.
I was all in on the Lightning.
Tampa Bay.
I was so worried that they were going to count that Gazzola goal and the Flames are going to win the cup, and I was gonna be like, they won. No, I was absolutely like one of the biggest Lightning supporters you'd find.
I still have my Bruins stat
Fedotenko,
from
I
when
think,
the
scored.
Canucks went to the Stanley Cup Finals.
Wow.
Dude,
Couldn't cheer for the Canucks.
Nope.
I
Nope,
do believe, like I don't cheer for any of the teams anymore in the NHL, but if you are a hockey fan or a Canadian hockey fan, you should not cheer for another Canadian team to win the Stanley Cup because you should be the one that wants to break the streak.
Right.
If the Oilers don't win the cup this year, you don't want the Jets to break the streak.
Damn rights.
You don't want the Canucks to break the streak.
no
You
other
want the
correct
Oilers
argument
to
out
break
there.
that streak. So you should be cheering against every single Canadian team. The only ones I think that are acceptable, and correct me if I'm wrong, if you're an Oiler fan, I think of it, like not to go win the cup, taking that, but can you cheer for the Jets? Like, do you?
Yes.
I
I think you
Jets.
could. Small market team.
And the Sens, because who cares? It's just Ottawa. They're that little team over
I'm
there.
still bitter about the Jets playoffs. No, they swept us.
Oh, that?
Screw them.
Yeah, but the Oilers also destroyed them in the 80s.
That's fair.
That's true.
Maybe that was karma, that sweep, actually.
Well,
Well, that's a small price to pay, I would think.
Imagine the Jets in the 80s and having to come up against the Flames of the Oilers every single playoffs. Like, what an
Imagine
awful
if you're the
task.
Flames and you go up as the best team in hockey outside of the Oilers.
But at least they
they're
had
Oilers.
their cup and they had their run.
Right, but they get the one cup, and then years later, they see the next great player come, and it goes to the Oilers again.
Yeah.
That would suck as an Oilers fan.
Shucks.
bad.
Tay says that the Shanks in Calgary is still open.
Is
boys.
it?
Yeah, that's
Whoa.
what Tay says.
No way.
Yeah.
I
also have-
now I'm going to have to make a trip to Calgary just to say that. I wonder if the manager Dave now works there because the manager here, his name was Dave. He was awesome. He was the best, and I think he went to Calgary after this one closed.
Oh,
So
well, Tay says it's still open. And then SJ Not in the Kootenays texted in and said, the staff at the golf course give the same death stares to Maddie at 6 a.m.
Why? I don't
It's a
get
joke.
that. I don't talk
they're
a lot.
angry to be at
I
work
know.
at 6
Yes,
a.m.
that's the
Oh, that
joke.
part.
Yes.
Yeah, that I understand.
It's a joke. It's
I
a
don't
joke
talk
from
much,
SJ
but
Not
see,
in the
I also
Kootenays.
understand what it's like to be miserable at 6 a.m. That I don't try to poke the bear with people.
If you're not a morning
What?
person,
I
you
don't.
shouldn't work
I
in a
just
pro
say good
shop.
morning. How are you, Matthew? What did you do last night? Did you happen to see this in the elevator message board thing? And he's like, yeah, no, I'll talk to you later. And then like
I
he'll
don't
walk
even say
away.
I talk to you later.
No, he doesn't. That's
I
true.
just look at you and
Just
walk
throw a
away.
look.
He just yeah.
I don't. I will answer in as few words as possible if I answer at all.
He may as well have his hood like up and like
Pretty much how I
cinched
am
tight.
before 7 a.m. every
Yeah.
day, too. I'm
Except
not
if it's
wired
golf.
that way. Yeah.
It's but also I actually don't talk when it comes to golf still.
But even if I had to golf at 6,
Oh,
I'd still wake up
I'm
at
still
like
like I don't want to talk to people. Like just don't talk to me.
Right.
Yeah.
Let me just golf. Let me enjoy it. And then at some point, like round 5, 6 holes in, I'll start being
He
talkative.
gets bubbly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not even alcohol in me at that
the
point.
No, not at that time of day. I hope not. I do. Okay, the Vancouver Calgary thing. I do have a quick story. It reminded me of something I experienced.
Before
in
you
Calgary.
do that, that
Yeah.
was Movers and Shakers brought to you by Marco and Mike. Realty One Group Insider, marcoandmike.com for more information. Sorry.
No worries.
You could drink your Tim Hortons coffee. You guys all brought Tim Hortons coffee, and I feel left out.
You have a coffee.
But I feel left out that I'm not like with the boys. So.
Yours is probably like made with care and
no,
love.
not at all.
You've been here for 4 hours already.
Yeah.
No, I'm not mornings right now.
Oh,
Yeah.
I thought you just come in because you love it.
He basically lives here.
Not a chance.
Yeah.
Sorry, Tommy.
That's okay.
There's
whatever.
a cot in the back.
But no, it's the couch.
got a
He
couch.
slept here about a month
That's right.
ago.
He has a
I
coach
did
in his
sleep here
office.
once. I
There
slept
you go.
here in the first month
Yeah.
of the Oilers
that was
season.
a
month
tough.
ago.
That was a tough back-to-back shift where we had like an 8:30 start.
Yeah.
For Oilers, and then you were in on the morning
show, yeah.
show. We didn't get off the air. I don't think we left. I didn't leave till like 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a late one, and things were bad. This story, going back to the Vancouver Calgary thing, it was interesting. So when I was still traveling full time with the Oilers, and I think it was my last season there, we were in Calgary. I was heading down from the press box in the media elevator to event level to get ready for post game. And a sweet old lady's working the elevator. She was reading her novel, listening to the game on the little radio that they had in the elevator at the Saddle Dome. And she looked at me and she's like, "You're from Edmonton, aren't you?" I was like, "Yep, I am." And she's like, "I don't mind the Oilers as much as I can't stand the Vancouver Canucks." And I was like, "Oh, go on." And she goes, "Their fans are just so obnoxious. There are always fights, and they are loud, and they are drunk. And it happens too with Oilers fans, but it just seems to be on a different level when it's Vancouver fans." And I was like, funny you mention that, because there's always huge brawls in Edmonton when the Canucks are in town. She goes,
right?
"I don't know what it is about them. I just don't like them." And I was like, that I think really emphasizes it, that like, is there something about Canucks fans that
they're riot starters, Tom.
well, they did burn down their own city when they lost in the Stanley Cup final.
Yeah, but they got some good deals on TVs.
Too soon. I'm kidding. But yeah, I think that little story with that lady working the media elevator it just summed it up perfectly. I was like, what the hell is wrong with Vancouver fans?
I remember Elliot Friedman once saying that the most vicious fans he gets on Twitter was usually Vancouver Canucks fans.
Wow.
They can be the most vicious with that stuff.
I saw a fight at Rexall back in the day, and I thought, and remember the second deck right above the suites before the first deck? I thought these guys, it was started out with two, ended up being like a pack of 4 or 5. I thought they were going over, and I think security was able to like catch them, and then other fans caught them. But I was like, oh my goodness!
There's like what, 4 inches of glass at Rexall?
Yeah, barely, right? Like, because there was that colonnade or whatever they called it.
Yeah.
Listen, it was only a 10-foot drop, but you fall on your head with 3 people on top of you. You're
on top of other people or
you're
chairs.
dead. Yeah.
It's the people that you fall on that you generally have to worry about.
Well, a lady was falling on
At a concert.
at Commonwealth, right?
Yes.
Yeah, and I think she like had severe, like broke her back or something like that.
From
yeah.
the upper deck to the lower
guy
deck?
fell on from the upper deck. Yeah,
Well, that's
Yeah.
a bit more of a drop than in
that's
at
got to be like
Rexall.
50 feet.
But there was also one, I think it was Commonwealth, maybe it was Rexall, where somebody just, the row behind them fell on top of them, and some lady
man.
got hurt and stuff that way. That's where you have to worry, because you're not expecting it or anything, can't prepare
That's
for
probably
it.
the Saddle Dome, let's be honest.
yeah, what
It's
a
falling
dump.
apart.
It is
Didn't
literally.
somebody fall out of the stands at Yankee Stadium one time trying to catch a foul ball and end up in the net or something like that?
Yeah. Got to get that foul ball.
Got to get that ball.
It's Yankee Stadium. They're tough. Yankee fans are tough.
Yeah, they never hit home runs there. So
You can't get a home run there. Yankee fans are, we're a special breed. Not usually.
Oh, there it is.
You said it.
We're,
said it.
It's going to be a great season coming up. If we could figure out the pitching.
Juan Soto.
I'm still worried about the pitching. Juan Soto's it's going to be great. Yankees, Dodgers, World Series. Everyone should be excited about that. All you Jays fans should be pumped. Sorry, I don't.
no Ohtani, and it's the Yankees. Great trolling.
I know. It's great. That's the point. Yeah. No one has sympathy for me. But Mark Mageau's a Yankee fan, so at least him and I can enjoy the success of the Yankees together. Solidarity between him and I.
Yeah.
Are you a Jets fan too?
No.
New York Jets?
No.
Oh no,
No,
you're
I'm a Ravens fan.
Ravens, that's right.
No, Josh Clausen and Mageau are Jets fans together.
Okay.
Mageau used to be a Knicks fan. I think he went to the Timberwolves. I don't know if he's completely lost the Knicks.
Whoa, I mean, good for him.
He was mad at James Dolan and stuff. Like, he was finally fed up. But I don't know if he's gone back to being a Knicks fan. I'll have to talk to him about that one. Like Wiggins, I think, was there and stuff. And like Carlo Anthony Towns, and they were like looking like they were
gonna be something
fun going on with Minnesota. So, yeah.
Wiggins is fun to watch.
Atif sent in a story, if I may.
Please. 780-218-9999, Paris Jewelers inbox. You can also jump in the nasty chat
Is it a
on
Vancouver
YouTube.
story?
Calgary and Tampa.
Okay.
Atif, aka Wheels, says, "Hey boys, can I share a story? You're talking about when Calgary and Tampa played in the playoffs. I went down to 17th Street and I was chatting. Go Tampa, go! And I had so much beer throwing at me. The police had to tell me to go home. By the way, Amalie Arena, so awesome. Get a chance, go see a game in Tampa Bay." Atif was at the sledge hockey championships representing. They were the Edmonton Oilers down in Tampa, and they were at a game at Amalie. So Atif, Mixing the water.
Seems a little unprofessional for the police to be throwing beer at him.
I don't think I think like I read it verbatim, but I think
I'm making
people
some
were-
assumptions.
he said he had so much beer
Right.
Thrown at him.
thrown at him,
And then the police told him.
yeah, and the police told him
Which,
to go home,
it's
So he was in Calgary and
Egging
yelling,
on the
"Go
fans.
Yes.
Tampa, go!"
That's
what
a
did you
bold
expect?
move.
kind of got what you expected there.
Yeah.
Atif in his wheelchair, he in the playoffs especially, he has like the orange and blue lights. It is pretty jazzy. I could see him being like stirring the pot and being a little spit disturber in Calgary for sure.
I mean, I saw a guy at Rexall Place chanting "Go Flames, go" in those old bathrooms, and if you remember, they are just completely lined with urinals side by side
Yeah.
by side by side. And a impatient Oilers fan
Oh.
decided to not wait for the urinal and just go and use the back of his jeans.
That's bad.
So it's happened. We're not completely innocent here.
No,
No,
this
no,
is
no.
true.
But like, I also am not gonna. I'm
If
not
you
gonna
go
be
chanting "Go Flames, go." Or
I'm
"Go
not
Lightning,
gonna look
go,"
at those
you're
Flames
looking for
fans and be
trouble.
like, you kind of poked the bear on that one, and when the
Yeah.
bear comes at you, I'm sorry, like that's
Yeah.
when I can't.
Yeah.
I can't be like, oh, you Flames fans,
Yeah.
you went like.
That's
Imagine
asking
going
for
to the
it.
Moss Pit during the playoffs and going, "Go Vegas, let's go Vegas."
I love the Golden
You know,
Knights.
I went to go watch the Oilers at TD Garden last year. I wore my Oilers jersey, but I wasn't. You don't go into the Boston bathrooms and
Yeah.
start.
Yeah, in the seats, you cheer for your Oilers,
Yeah.
you do your thing. There's a code to that.
Yeah.
You could represent your team in another barn, but there's also a line you don't cross. Yeah,
Right.
you don't go into the bathrooms in the back areas and just really try to poke those bears, especially in Boston.
Yeah.
They
Dash-
still come
Those
at
fans
you.
are
Yeah.
great, by the way.
Dash, you weren't in the bathroom at TD Garden going 88 and 90 were awesome.
Exactly.
88 and 90,
Yeah.
and stuff like that.
Yeah.
Anyway,
Yeah.
That just made me think of the. I don't know if you guys remember years ago, the Boston Bruins had some commercials where they had like the bear, like there's
Yeah.
this date night, and so one person had like a Bears jersey on, and her boyfriend or whatever had like a Habs jersey or something, and the bear just started beating on the Habs jersey guy or something.
yeah, I
those
do
are funny
remember that.
commercials.
I have a picture with that mascot from
Oh, yeah?
Boston going like we're squared off, about to punch each other though.
I love the jerseys that they had with the Bruin on it.
Yeah, that was a good one.
those were good.
Yeah.
Those were some of my favorite jerseys.
They used it for
Yeah.
reverse retro. They look good.
which I still wish the Oilers went back to those white versions.
With
Or
the
this-
orange
yeah.
shoulder. Yeah, that was really nice. Someone
The
was.
orange logo.
Yeah.
And those, I know that you said that the players didn't like it,
Yeah,
but I
players
don't
didn't
care what
like
the
it.
players think on that one.
They
Those
didn't
were
like
beautiful.
the pants.
They were
Oh,
beautiful.
really? What
Yeah.
was that?
Just the orange pants. Yeah.
Oh, gotcha.
Cass and I were leaving the game last week, and we saw one of those ones, the first reverse retro, and we're like, those were so nice. And Cass is like, why couldn't they just wear their blue pants and then like invert the colors on the stripe? And I was like, I don't know. They could have, I suppose. Never did.
Somebody mock that up. Let's take a look.
Mock it up.
People love
There's
mocking
some
up
great
jerseys
artists out
and
there.
things
Sucks
like that.
where you at?
This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's, Clamato, Caesar, Dash, Matt, Guy, Tommy with you here. I'll just go. Congratulations to Grumpy Cat of the Nasty Club, as he was the winner of November for a chance to join us
Nice.
on the Hangout. So I will be in touch with Grumpy Cat to see if there's a time in the new year for him to come by and join the Hangout. We had
Sweet.
Mick from Beaumont as the first winner of the Nasty Club draw.
was great.
And we had him a few weeks
I
ago.
should rig
so
that for Surveyor Brett. and Just have her rip the ref in here.
You know what?
I'm good
Surveyor
without
Brett
him.
just shows
I'm
up
good
anyway.
without him.
Stick him in here.
He doesn't deserve to be on the Hangout.
Oh, snap.
He came at me so much as the commission, like he thinks
Rightly
he's
so.
Let's be honest. He hasn't stopped coming at you.
No, he hasn't. So
I
why?
shared some private messages with you.
So
last
why
night.
should? Yeah. So why should I welcome him on the show that I am a part of?
Well, I think he talked
If
about.
anything, I'm going to rig it against him. So
Wow.
if I draw it and I see Surveyor Brett, the draw never happened.
Wow.
So I'll give you a
Take
little
that,
insight into
Surveyor
his plan. What happens if he comes in here mid-draft
He's
or
done that.
pre-draft next time?
Yeah, and drafts next
And he
week.
says he's got this thing. I don't know if it's referees or like what's
Yeah.
martial law, because he says he's just going to come in and anoint himself the new commish.
Wow.
Well, I don't care. I'm out.
Well,
I'm not commissioning, but
Then
that's
who's
on
going to
Quinn.
stop him? That's
I
what
s-
I'm saying.
That's going to have to be down to the people that are involved in that, which is not me. So it's going to be Tom, it's going to be Dusty, it's going to be Eric, it's going to be Jay Milne, or it's going to be Quinn. Is he really going to come in and try to take it from Quinn Phillips? What did Quinn ever do to you, Surveyor Brett? Why are you coming after Quinn like that? Huh? See?
Answer that.
That's why I have problems with Surveyor Brett.
Wow.
So
The beef is
yeah.
real.
Come right into the draft. See if I care. I'll be watching TV outside, and it won't even be the draft. I don't know what I'm going to watch. What's on TV at 10:30 in the morning? or 9:30.
Well,
Soap
Mr.
operas.
Dress Up used to be. It was a great show.
Probably some.
It's supposed to be a good doc that came out on that one. I gotta still watch.
Yeah, I want to see that. Casey and Finnegan.
Mr. Dress-Up.
Chester the
Yeah,
Crow.
Mr. Dressup was great.
Annie.
Chester the Crow. I don't remember that one.
Yeah, he came in after Casey and Ferguson, right? Finnegan. Casey and Finnegan, and then Annie, Chester the Crow. Yeah. No,
What's
it was good.
really in the tickle trunk? I don't know.
I thought that was sweet. But he was never really like. He's never really like a superhero, you know. I was always hoping there'd be like a Ninja Turtle in there, Ninja Turtle costume. It never really happened. It was always like something like realistic. But he had great drawings and crafts and stuff. He was awesome, Mr. Dressup. I like that more than Mr. Rogers.
So two things.
Canadian. He's the Canadian Mr. Rogers. Actually,
They
Mr.
went to school
Rogers is the
together.
American Mr. Dressup.
They did something together. They went to some. I forgot what it was.
Yeah, they worked together.
Yeah, and then they
somehow.
kind of then branched off, or then
Yeah.
Mr. Dressup became Canada, Mr. Rogers became the U.S., and us as Canadians got to enjoy both of them, and it was wonderful. Mike did email me saying Shanks North is closed in Calgary. Shanks South is still open. So they had two locations,
didn't know that.
which I did not know.
South would be the one on McLeod then. That's the one I was at.
Surveyor Brett in the nasty chat.
Uh-oh.
This is slanderous. Commissioner Quinn Phillips is also in the nasty chat saying, be the bigger man, Maddie. Brett, you come for me, you'll regret it. Surveyor Brett saying, I would never. And then Quinn saying, Maddie is trying to tear us apart. No, Quinn. I was just told that Surveyor Brett wants to come in, martial law, and take over commissioner.
Martial law.
And martial law, and you are commissioner. So he's trying to take your job, Quinn. Mm-hmm. And I'm saying, don't come at Quinn. So I'm not trying to tear anyone apart. These are his words that have been told to me. So
That's what happens with referees, hey? They just think that
Never
they can
trust
start
a
to
ref.
manage whatever they want.
Just drop the damn
control
puck.
like,
whatever
how
they
could
want.
how do you ever trust her? Like, how do you work with Andrew Peard now, with him being a ref?
I do give him the gears about that.
Do
Has
ya?
he changed?
Last game,
he
he said, I
changed?
am fully in the referee fraternity now. I was like, okay. Yeah. He likes to talk refereeing now.
Does he, like, on a broadcast, rip a ref for a call or anything?
It's funny.
Or-
It's happened.
Yeah.
And then I'm looking at him, like giving him the side eye. I'm like, hey, that's your fraternity.
you really
I
let
would,
say that?
I would never have made that call, he says.
Beardo's
Nah, it's
probably
good.
like, this referee tandem is doing a great job tonight. Oh boy, the WHL officials are just the best. So many of them are
Yeah.
going to the NHL promptly.
It's like, I'll say something about a call, and he'll say, it's a real difficult job. You got to cut those guys some
It is
slack.
a hard job.
Yeah. I know.
He went to the dark side, Peardo.
Yeah.
But he's worked with Surveyor Brett a few times, and
Yeah.
he
It's a
said
good
Surveyor
tandem.
Brett taught him quite a bit, and Brett knows what he's doing out there.
Is that what he told you?
As he said it on the Hangout.
Ooh, okay.
Oh,
He's probably paid to see
you
Okay.
didn't? Did he? You played games with Brett as your ref or something?
Oh, yeah.
Was he bad calls against you?
Yeah, he's absolutely biased.
Yeah.
He put me in the penalty box way too many times, and I didn't appreciate it.
So basically, yeah, that's what you would get with a Surveyor Brett commissioner. I think he'd play favorites, and he'd have his other people, and it would like
Power hungry, and he could be an a-hole.
Whoa.
Yeah.
All right.
no one likes an a-hole.
I happened to run into our
Thanks for bumping me for Stoff, by the way.
Oh. Ouch.
Bumping you for Stoff.
It's bumping
Oh.
Stoff for me. Pardon me. Wow, did
Oh,
I
yeah,
blow that
no.
one-liner? Never mind.
You bet. You're
welcome.
Anytime.
Yeah.
Stoff wasn't happy, but we told him like Dash has to come
Yeah.
in.
For a guy that claims to not listen to our station, future EST guest Bob Stauffer certainly knows a lot about us.
That's the joke I was trying to play off
Yeah.
before I blew it.
Yeah, there you go.
That was my bad. I could have played it
Nah,
better, I
yeah,
guess. But
didn't set you up well.
Yeah.
no. Were you gonna read something?
Yep. This text comes in and says, "Hey boys, love the show. In the 2017 playoffs, I was wearing my Kessler Ducks jersey at the brew house the night Kessler held the pad. I had to dodge a couple of beers. Haha. From Hux.
Okay, now the question is,
Hux.
were you there just cheering on your Ducks, or did you egg on the fans after that call?
Right.
I feel like that one was so rough that
Who's a Ducks fan? First things first.
And a Kessler
very
fan.
few people.
Duck
very few
and a
people.
Kessler fan.
I met Kevin Bieksa at the airport in Toronto and had a beer with him, and he hates Kessler. And they're best friends.
Wow. Yeah.
Quite literally, the first words out of his mouth were, I said, I'm an Oilers fan. He's like, hey, F. Kessler.
Wow.
I think he just is conditioned to, that's what people say. But,
That's a good way to endear yourself to an Oilers fan.
But as long as you're not egging them on, you didn't deserve the beers thrown at you.
Yeah,
I will say that. So if you were going, it's the right call, boys, then you're asking
standing
for
ovation in the middle of the brew house with your Ducks jersey.
I still go back to, though, it was the bad call, but the Oilers gave up like 3 goals in minutes.
It was a bad call, and
they
they
blew
did
it.
fall apart.
But they
like a
blew
minute
it.
and 28.
Yeah,
or something.
and that was the last goal, I didn't blame the Oilers getting knocked out because of that call.
Right.
I blame the Oilers getting knocked out by giving up 3 goals very quickly.
That's right.
Yeah, it's not the reason they lost, but it's the moment from that game.
Yes.
It's like Steve Bartman for the Cubs.
Exactly. Which
Good reference.
I always feel bad for that guy looking back because
Totally.
it was a team he loved, could never be around them. When they won the World Series, they tried bringing him back, and he's just out. No, he didn't want to come back.
his
And
heart,
it's just
man.
like that. Just imagine your life and just how crushed you are. That even when things are good again, that they were just so
Standing
cruel
in
to
olive
you.
branch, and he
And the
just
olive
won't
branch
even
came
take
out,
it,
which I fully understand why he didn't take it, but it's just like how much he would have been crushed. I was surprised he was still living in Chicago, actually.
It's a huge city. It's like 6 million people in Chicago.
That's a recognizable face in Chicago, though, brother.
Well,
Like,
he walks around with a fake mustache now, doesn't he? I don't know.
As long as he's not walking around with his headphones, his little Walkman headphones.
Well, hey, how's it going?
And I guess it's just you're always seeing the Cubs, right? Like in your city, you're always around that, and like you can't go to Wrigley anymore, which is probably a spot he really loved going to. That
Now
was
he's
a
a White
favorite
Sox
spot, and now he can't go.
Is he? You think
I
he's
don't
a White
know.
Sox
I'm
fan
just,
now?
and times are good. I don't know.
They would welcome you there.
They would. There's not a lot of people that go to those games.
Those are where the real fans are, apparently.
White Sox?
It's the White Sox fans are the fans. The Cubs fans are more of like the be seen type thing. It's that type of situation where if you're the real fans, the tougher ones, it's the same thing that's said about Yankees Mets. Real baseball fans in New York generally
like
go
white
all right,
collar,
the
blue
Mets
collar,
game.
or
Well, and
something
it's
like
just
that?
like the Yankees.
I don't think so.
Going to a Yankee game is more of a status unless you're in the bleacher area.
Right.
Like it's hey, take your client to a Yankee game type thing.
I
Whereas
guess Wrigley's
Mets
not the greatest
is-
part of Chicago, so
The area right around Wrigley's really nice. Like they've done,
But not
dressed
South
it up.
Chicago,
So,
where it's the rough guy.
yeah.
Like that's they're the diehards, and you're not going to find like you're not taking your client to go to a White Sox game, right? That's where the baseball fans are at, and like the Oilers are trending away from being the White Sox fan base, at Rogers, and more to the Cubbies Yankee type one, where it's the corporate people go. That's who kind of gets in more than not, and it's not as fun.
I understand
Maple
that
Leafs,
sentiment.
it's
those are boring.
the best Maple Leaf fans aren't getting into Scotiabank Arena.
This is true.
no,
right.
no.
That's very
the same
true.
could probably start to be said about Edmonton. Really,
100%. Like there's a lot of really strong Oiler fans that can't go to games nowadays and won't get there because and I'm not saying all of Rogers Place is this way. Not all the fans are just the stuck up, or business type thing. But it's getting more and more where there are those in, and it's
just facts. I mean,
it's
the
not
higher the ticket,
fans. It's not as much. It's people that are there to sit and watch and have their business chat or whatever it might be.
Because of prices, ticket prices?
that's the linear effect, I think, right? The higher the ticket prices go, the more corporations that buy the tickets instead of the individuals, and then you're bringing your client instead of bringing
Because
your
it's more
brother
elitist and it's a thing. So hey, I could really show my client how good things are. Let's go to an Oiler game. I've got this. You're not saying like let's go to an Elks game, because anyone could go to an Elks.
But
game.
I might
Right?
yell
It's not
things
a
at Drew
status.
Doughty beside my brother that I wouldn't yell beside my customer.
Yeah.
It's true.
What would you
Shout
yell
out-
at Drew Doughty?
Shout out to
Have me on
the
next time.
40 people that showed up in Santa costumes last night. That was, speaking of like good fans, that was great. They were singing like jingle bells and stuff like that. They were sitting right below us in the press level, and I was like, what is going
in one
on?
group?
Yeah, they had like a
missed that.
huge chunk of a whole section. That was like good rowdy fans. Good spirited, and they got the people around them going, and they would show them on the big screen a few times, and people were loving it. So that is a nice throwback to just good fans.
It's like that group of Oilers fans that went to the Saddle Dome last year, and then every whistle chanted, "The Saddle Dome is falling down, falling down,
Really?
falling down.
It
The
really
Saddle
is.
Dome is falling down."
That is a terrible facility.
Every single whistle. It was
Getting a
fantastic.
new one. Finally getting a new one.
They need a new one.
They do not. They do not.
Hux.
I like Edmonton getting all the concerts. Like I don't want
Yeah.
Calgary ever to get something new because then it's
Totally.
at some point will they start getting some extra concerts? And I want them driving up to Edmonton, having to make that trek up north.
That's right. Hux follows up with, I 100% leaned into it and tossed some chirps the other way.
Wow.
Okay, yeah. Then you're asking for some stuff to be thrown at him. Not saying it's right that they did that, but you've kind of asked for it. So
I like why Vander Kane tried to pull a Kessler there and grab the pad on Connor Brown's disallowed goal. It was like he was his little Kessler imitation, I thought.
Yeah. Poor Connor Brown.
Poor Connor Brown. When is Connor Brown going to score?
Well, he hit the post again last night, so now he's going in the wrong direction. He hits the post the one game, scores, has it disallowed. You'd think yesterday, logically, the trend would be his goal would count, but instead he goes back to hitting the post. So
it's gripping his stick, man. Like you can see it, right?
Yeah,
like, you know, when you want it so bad and you want to.
He's going to be Mike Pekka.
Right.
06
right.
Mike Pekka. That's what he's going to be.
I was a big Mike Pekka.
If he's 06 Mike Pekka in the playoffs, I'm just fine with that.
Who is the dude that didn't score at all?
Oh, Tobias Reeder.
It was his fault, too, for the Oilers season.
It was his fault?
Oh, Bob Nicholson had like a season ticket thing, like through Reeder, didn't he? Like threw him under the bus,
something like that. Yeah,
really?
Well, somebody recorded or
he
something.
Alluded to it.
He alluded to Tobias Reeder not scoring. They expected more out of him, and it was like just like a kind of like a throwaway comment.
Of all the
and
names that he threw out there was Tobias Reeder, and that was somebody recorded it or something, and it was at like a season ticket at breakfast or something, and then it became a thing of he threw it was Toby Reeder's fault that the Oilers didn't do well.
They did like 4 or 5 of these in like a 1 or 2 day span, and those are tough. Like when you're getting the season ticket holders and they want answers, and your team is dog poop for 2 straight years, that can grind you out. And I think Bob slipped up a little bit, and he knows that. But it did not go over well.
No,
at all.
Toby Reeder's fault. Except I think he was I think the boys had a goal song for him created.
Great,
but never got to use it.
Holy cow!
I think so. I'll have to ask him. I think that's
didn't
one of them.
Score eventually?
Not that season.
No,
that season he didn't. And I don't think I think they got one for him and never got to use it. And that stuff wasn't cheap.
No.
Like our goal, the company that we dealt with at one point, we actually ended up having to pay for them a little bit. And I think that might have been before where we had a different deal for it. But yeah, I think they had one, and it
should just get the Whale and the Wolf guys too.
Quote unquote, Toby Reeder hasn't scored a goal this year. Nicholson said, Toby Reeder has missed so many breakaways. If Toby Reeder would have scored 10 to 12 goals, we'd probably be in the playoffs.
Wow. Oh, banking your hopes on Toby Reeder.
Oh, that's right.
Well, to look back on the season and go, Toby Reeder.
Yeah.
That's the guy that really screwed us this
German
season.
Chemistry.
No kidding.
That's right. 11 assists in 67 games. And I remember when he scored his first point, obviously an assist, I tweeted something like, it took Toby Reeder 7 years, X amount of months, and something days, and 2 other franchises before he got his first point as an Oiler. And I was like, oh, that was a good one. So, you're right. I forgot. He didn't score.
But it was his fault. It was all his fault.
He's playing in Växjö.
Where's that?
The Swedish
Sweden
league. Yeah.
Sweden.
That's tier 2.
No, that's and they're really good. They're really good. It looks like Växjö, but
right,
Belzy has educated me, it's Växjö. Weird.
Did he play there?
He's playing there right now.
No,
Belzy.
Oh, Belzy played in Farstad.
Oh, okay, so he just played. So
that looks like Farjestad.
Yeah. Or Skellefteå, which is like Skellefteå. Yeah. Soft J's, soft K's, umlauts everywhere. Swedes.
So when do the Oilers lose again?
Soon.
At home? Will they lose at home?
I don't know. I mean,
2 tough games coming up. But 8 in a row, you're due for a loss at some point. Now look, they could go. What did the Devils do recently? Like it was last year or something like that. They went on a massive win streak. So we've seen, you could go 17 in a row type thing.
Yeah.
But at some point you do have to. There will be one dropped. But this 8-game win streak has just been it's almost recovered from the issues from the start of the season.
Well, they're true 500 now, not Bettman 500, but true 500 now.
Yeah.
They're sitting
Point
in the
back
last
from
wild
playoff
card
spot.
No, I think they're in the
They're
last
in?
wild card spot. I thought. Unless
they're
I'm wrong.
They're like a point out.
Oh, really?
Who do they got
Apologies.
coming up? Tampa and Florida?
Tampa, Florida before they go on the road. So lost to both those 2 teams, right? Yeah, but had leads in those games
Yes.
and blew them. So can take a lead against those teams. I'm just trying to pull up.
Before they started this winning, the home winning streak, like this 4-0, It's crazy, right? Like you look at where they were in the standings then versus where they are now after going 4-0. And the crazy part of it is when I looked back, St. Louis and Arizona were both on huge heaters at the time, and they went 0-4-0 since the Oilers have gone 4-0. Yeah. So they gained 8 points on each of those two teams. But then conversely, I think LA was 7-2-1 while we were 7-2-1 in their last 10 when we were 8-2 in our last 10, and Vegas was 6-1-3 in their last 10. So we gained 1 point on Vegas, and
you know what, Dash? They're gonna have to beat LA in the 4 games that they play the Kings. I think it's 4 this year. So
still 4 left. Yeah.
Yeah, like that's gonna be important. And
those 8 points
beat Vegas too if they can. And Vegas is gonna get one against the Oilers for sure. It's just the way it is. Mm-hmm. But those 3 losses to Vancouver that was rough, man.
Yeah. So the Oilers right now sit 1 point behind the Coyotes for the last wild card spot, but the Oilers have 2 games in hand.
Yeah.
The Oilers also sit 5 points back from Nashville for the top wild card spot. The Oilers have 3 games in hand. So in theory, if they win those games in hand, they sit in the first wild card spot. Mm-hmm. Right. When it comes to the division, though, this is where it's going to be tough. And this is where the start of the season hurt them. LA, 36 points. 9 up on the Oilers. They still have a game in hand, though, on the Oilers.
Right.
So then, in theory, they can make that 11.
But that's why you need to beat LA and win the season series.
Sure.
If you want to get back into the mix
but the Pacific, like, the Oilers aren't going to keep doing 8-0s. You know, like, there will be some losses here and there. You are going to drop some games. That's why, like, the Pacific Division is still going to be a tall order to go get.
Yeah.
Golden Knights are just a top team. Canucks playing well through 29 games. Like, this isn't a... They're just a good hockey team this year now. And I still, the LA Kings, they're well coached. They're a good team.
They can score now.
I think the only question I would have about the LA Kings right now is, can Cam Talbot do this the whole season?
I was going to say goaltending. Yeah. Goaltending would be the question mark for the Kings, wouldn't it?
You know, so my biggest fear is a little bit, maybe this is off, but I had a dream that the LA Kings hired Woody. You know, like
they made him an offer when Todd went there.
Well, they've been associates before.
Like you're saying, he's bringing him on the bench?
Yeah. I think Woody's going to get a head coaching job.
Well, there's talk of a lot of Ottawa.
And
well, it would make sense with the Sales connection.
Yeah.
DJ Smith.
Get rid of DJ Smith. You bring in Woody and Manson. There's a natural spot. There was talk of when Woody got fired that if the Leafs were kept going down, maybe they'd make the move for Woody out there. Yeah, I think if you're Jay Woodcroft, you're not rushing to jump on it as an assistant on a bench.
But it was just a dream.
No, it was just a bad dream.
But I could see that. Like, I could see one day him and Todd were really close. They went from Detroit together, or were they in Grand Rapids first?
They were in Detroit.
Grand Rapids, Detroit, San Jose, then Edmonton, and then finally it wasn't going well here, and Todd had to move on from his assistants type thing, and then Jay went down to the minors, and then Todd wanted him in LA.
Todd was forced to move on from his assistants.
No, 100% was. Yeah. And so it's like I could see that one day, but I think Jay did so well with the Oilers that he's worthy of somebody going to give him a head coaching gig.
Yeah.
So
he's got a brother that coaches too. He was coaching college hockey in
Vermont.
Got fired for some inappropriate behavior, but apparently a good coach. I wonder if both coaches would end up in Ottawa together.
He had Luca Munzenberger there.
Yeah.
In Vermont.
Mm-hmm.
Oilers Lightning tomorrow. We do have a pair of tickets to that game, thanks to Mark with 85 Weldco. So if you would like to go to Oilers and Lightning tomorrow, we'll just text us, 780-218-9999. Recently, when the Lightning won a couple of cups, which former Oiler was on those teams? Who won the cup? Which former Oiler won some cups with the Tampa Bay Lightning? Text us 780-218-9999, and you will go into a draw for that pair of tickets to see Oilers Lightning tomorrow down at Rogers Place. Again, thanks to Mark with 85 Weldco. We'll announce the winner on the Oil Stream later today because you and Dusty will be on at noon, fully recapping Oilers and Blackhawks in an 8-game winning streak. Up next, it will be the Lock Shop with Dusty and Huss, but you are on at noon. This is the EST Hangout presented by Mott's Clamato, Caesar, Dash, Matt, Guy, and Tom with you here. Reminder, if you're in need of any sort of promotional products, be sure to check out our official merch partner, The Hive Product Marketing, products that bring the buzz, thehiveproductmarketing.com. Anyone that had the store orders for EST, those were supposed to be shipped by Saturday. I think everything is in. I haven't actually talked to them at The Hive. The stuff we got with it has actually shown up here. So the store order should be getting ready to be shipped out right away. But if you or your company is looking for any sort of promotional products, the Hive Product Marketing is who you're going to want to get in touch with. Chelsea will take great care of you with that.
I love the Campfire coffee mug.
Yeah.
It's the only one. I have so many coffee mugs at home, but I only use that one. I keep rewash. I don't even put it in the dishwasher. I just rewash it by hand. I love that mug.
It was bigger than I expected.
It's awesome.
It's a big 15 ounce.
Great Americano in there, Guy.
Weren't you just rocking like a Team 1260 mug or something recently on your one of those oil streams?
Oh, I have like a Gino Reda TSN mug. I have 2 Gino Reda TSN mugs.
Right.
Yeah,
Now I remember.
Yeah, I did work for that company too at one point. Gino he's a super nice guy.
I've heard that.
Classic. It was they were doing I think it was a Movember thing, and they put his like original TSN headshot on there when he had the mustache.
Right.
Remember they had the TSN
on the other
Blazers
side of the mug,
and they had the old logo on there. So yeah,
They had some
bought a couple
classic
of
stashes at TSN
They
for a
really
while.
did.
Because
Back
they
in
had
the day.
him,
Jim Van Horn.
Jim Van Horn, Vic Rauter.
Vic Rauter had the stash.
Didn't
Really?
he?
Maybe.
Or am I thinking of someone else?
No, who's got the golden voice?
Rod
there?
Black.
Rod Black.
Rod
That's
Black,
yeah,
Rod,
no. Did
yeah.
Rick? I guess maybe Vic Rauter.
No,
was-
not Rod. Who am I thinking of?
Rod Black did have a
No,
mustache.
Rod
He
Black
did,
had
but
that
who am I
thick
thinking
one.
of?
Grizzly Adams did have a beard.
We had Vic Rauter on JMO and I once a number of years ago, probably 5-6 years ago, to talk curling, and then we just got into the state of broadcasting, and he works for TSN still. He ripped TSN and Sportsnet apart.
Really?
Nice.
Just went after the broadcast industry, just didn't care. Talking about how back in the day with SportsCenter, you would take the best stories and you'd order it that way. And now it's all based on the rights holders, and Sportsnet's going to lead with the Jays when they should be talking about something else that might be a little more important. And
Right.
the TSN's not going to talk about the Jays because they're going to put their stuff ahead of it. And he just ripped the industry. We're like, this
Well
is
done.
awesome.
Wow.
But also, we don't want to promote this now because we don't want to get you fired, Vic.
Yeah.
I think at that point when he's saying that so candidly, he doesn't care, and he's truthful about it, which is hilarious.
I was
And it
thinking
is
of Rod.
sad.
I was thinking of Rod Smith.
Rod Smith did
I don't
Rod
think he
have
had a mustache though. Yeah, but that's who I was thinking.
Yeah. Oh, Dusty's good
Unbelievable
friend
voice.
Glenn Suter had a great mustache for years and years and years.
Best friends.
Best friends.
Let's not get carried away. When was the last time they talked to each other?
The last game that they worked together,
That's-
probably.
That's that's hey Dusty, when's the last time you talked to Suter? When was the last time you talked to Glenn Suter?
2 days ago.
No, you didn't.
You lie.
Now you're questioning when I talked to him last? Unbelievable, this guy.
I don't buy that.
My God, all the time. I mean, I talk to him all the time.
Was he not at your house cracking packs last night?
So I called him on the phone.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, we call them landlines. Talk to each other.
FaceTime. You're FaceTiming
outta
each
here.
other.
Yeah, exactly.
He's in the crack pack now.
Oh, on landlines, he says. That's amazing.
Do you guys have landlines? I don't.
I don't.
I don't.
No.
Do.
I think the TELUS guy, when he came by,
Gager?
no.
He worked for
Gager was
Shaw.
Oh yeah, right.
Rogers.
Jeremy, I remember his name. He was great, but he's like, I'll hook up a landline for you. I'm like,
Why?
I don't need one. He's like, well, you'll have it. I'm like, yeah. Are you going to charge me? Nope. I'm like, okay, whatever. So I guess I have one, but I don't have anything to plug into it. Literally.
I do want to get a landline one day
modem.
again.
I don't have mine.
Because my phone's always on silent. And it's one, if there's ever an emergency, like, yeah, you're not getting a hold of me if I'm not sitting right next to my phone.
Okay.
Straight up. And to have something where just the right people that have it, that if it ever rings, I know, oh, something is actually kind of important. I need to pick that up. I kind of do wish, but it's expensive, the landline
You
plans.
can go into your do not disturb settings and have certain people be able to break it certain ways.
Ah.
Like if my wife calls me 3 times in a row,
My
it can break
wife?
my do not disturb.
Yeah, but I don't want anyone to break my do not disturb
Just
my
saying.
phone
I got a
at all
wife.
times. Yeah, I don't.
got a wife and a kid.
I don't. Yeah, that's a little different.
Yeah, a little different.
No, so I don't need it at all times to get. And I'm not on do not disturb.
Mrs.
I'm on
Dash
just
likes to be
silence.
informed.
I'm on silence. So
Difference in do not disturb.
yeah, it's not fully there. Your phone ever?
Just to, like to turn the ringer off?
Yeah.
Yeah, right now, because I don't want it to ring while I'm.
He's a
But
pro.
do you then
the
keep
show.
it on the rest of the time?
Too often, yes,
Yeah?
I do, and it annoys everybody around me when you get ding, 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 people texting or whatever. Yeah, shut off your phone, please. Yeah, I get that all the time.
He's the guy at Boston Pizza across the table. Ding.
Yeah,
Ding,
no,
ding, ding.
not in public, but at home.
Oh, they're not. wife's not happy when your phone just keeps ping, ping,
It's
ping,
usually
ping.
my kid. Yeah.
That's because the generation is you don't have your phone on.
I think it
anything.
is, actually.
Yeah, we don't like. It's just. I used to have it on vibrate occasionally, but no.
I leave mine on vibrate.
I'll look at my phone and then if there's a message, I could respond. And I'm also though I think also part of that generation where it's also we're on our phone a little too much, so it's
Yeah.
actually really easy for us to see when we get a notification because we're
Yeah.
already on the phone. You know,
True.
I get anxiety when I see messages piling up on my phone.
Me too.
Because I feel like I need to clear
I
everything
missed something.
out. Yeah,
Was
I'm
it?
like,
Yeah.
oh, what did I
Okay,
do?
do you have unread emails?
Yeah.
A lot.
Some, but I try to stay on top of them. I just have like 5 different email accounts. That's the problem.
Do you have unread emails?
I do. I have like about 50 right now, and I don't know how they compiled because I don't have anything unread like for the. Well, I guess I do. Yeah. The short answer is yes, I do. How many is that? I don't have my glasses on.
53.
There you go.
That's it, huh?
Do you have unread emails and stuff? Like you've got. I don't.
4 as
How
of
can you live
being
with
here,
all of
but-
those numbers on your icons?
Yeah.
I need to clean everything.
I'm
clean.
OCD like that. Yeah. So I don't get like the numbers popping up on my email because otherwise I would freak out.
My phone actually, I've taken it off.
Yeah.
It doesn't even show me if there's messages. Like I just know that there's a message with a notification, but I don't get that little badge
Oh, I hate
icon
the
that tells me
badge.
like 10 unreads or something.
Yeah.
But
Why-
how
why
do
would
you
you-
have so many?
Why would you not want that?
I just don't like having
Anxiety.
Like I also go into my emails and I'm always like 0 unread.
Okay.
I go in and quickly. Like me and Lowtide had a thing at the station because he had like 10,000 unread. I was like, how do you have that many, dude? Like clean them. You could quickly like right click and clear them all or something.
No
And then
wonder.
he stuck with it just to piss me off more.
No wonder I could never get a hold of him. Like I would
Mixed
like
in.
send him an email or a text, and then I would get like a DM in Twitter.
He's a
few
DMer.
days later, and I'm like, Al, you have my number.
No, he's a DMer. You ever need to get a hold of Al? It was always
I
DM.
know that was how we
If I
communicated.
needed to get like work
Not a
info-
text, eh?
No, if I needed a work thing, like if it was like, hey,
Probably on Twitter on his computer or something.
Yeah.
but it's at all times. Like if I need something, like oh boy, like I need him to. Tommy's gonna be off for pregame
Yeah.
tomorrow. Like I need someone to fill in. I would DM Al. I wouldn't text. I wouldn't email. I would DM because
That
I know
makes a lot of
that's
sense.
how he's gonna get back.
Yeah.
Me too, actually. That's how you get a hold of me.
Yeah.
Is that
That's right.
is that an age thing? Is that because I'm old and LT's old?
But do you text other people?
I'm not as old as him though. He's really old. Anyway, sorry.
Do you text people,
Or
or do you still go with the DM?
if
But I guess like part of it, like you're, I'm assuming with conversations for like the pipeline show and stuff,
Mm-hmm.
that's around hockey and stuff, and it's just a little easier to.
If you host a podcast, you have to DM, do you not? Like,
yeah,
Is that
although
what
it's,
you do too? Well,
Oh,
me and
really
you. I
for
guess.
guests,
I
for
guess for
sure.
both
You
of you, I
and me, we
DM both
DM,
of
yeah.
you.
the rules of Twitter now, you have to, both people have to follow each other to be able to
Yes.
send a DM. So that's become a little bit more complicated now. Or
Yeah, you
trickier.
can't just have an open DM.
I have
and
missing.
something.
I don't have. I have unread Twitter DMs. That's one I definitely have.
Is yours open?
I don't know.
Do you get the little number on your phone that tells
yours
you that
is
you've
not
got
open because you.
I don't
when you
have
came
my
on our
DMs
show, we had
open.
to follow each other.
I had a few messages that.
Were they nice messages?
Oh, always.
Probably not.
Yeah.
Always.
I bet.
That it wasn't worth my time.
Most
Someone-
loved guy in radio.
Someone I didn't like last year around this time. I don't go on Facebook. I still have it to talk to my grandma, who's from Poland and only speaks Polish to me. Anyway, I only go on there to catch up with my grandma, and I have people like adding me, and then somebody came like somehow got through to me and messaged me how much they hated me and why they hated me
Wow.
ad nauseum, and I was just like, have a great Christmas. Like I don't care. Thanks for listening. But I don't.
Ex-girlfriend burner.
No, definitely not. This one was just like carving me left, right, and center. But I have no clue how this guy was able to get into my messages on Facebook because I have like all the restrictions on there, and somehow.
Well,
he got
I think
through.
there's a way that you can still message someone, but it falls into like a separate folder.
Oh,
of
maybe
people
that's
that
where
don't
it
follow
was.
you. It's the same like Instagram. You could DM someone, I think, but it's in like requests.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So there's
and I
a
read
different
this
way of
and I was
getting
like,
into that. If you actually go into there, then you could see a bunch of
Yeah.
the fan club with Tom Gazzola coming out.
Oh, this guy, he really loved me. Like the stuff he went into, I was just like, this guy really thinks I'm a piece of crap. All right. Have a nice Christmas. Thanks for the
jealous.
message.
He's jealous.
Yeah. Anyway, regardless, it was funny. I don't know how don't add me to Facebook. If you see me on, just don't add me. I don't go on there. I don't like it. Unless you're my grandma.
That's kind of rude.
Just don't add me.
Don't
I don't
add
do
me.
Facebook
I hate
either.
Facebook so much.
I'm not a Facebook guy either.
Yeah.
Instagram?
I don't have an Instagram. I was considering it because I was looking for alternatives to Twitter.
Instagram's amazing.
And what's the Instagram version of Twitter now? Threads. How's that?
Oh,
don't
terrible.
It's terrible.
Well, no, it's like it was the thing.
Signed up and forgot to go back.
Well, that's the thing. Like Threads, because it was connected to Instagram, everyone jumped on board. It shot up, and then there was a lot of things that it's not the same as Twitter, and it was the thing to do.
Yeah.
But everyone's still on Twitter. Like look, there's a lot of problems with Twitter.
Yeah.
All around with who runs it, with different things, all sorts of things. Like we could point to all the problems, but for the last year, we've heard that Twitter's dying, and we're still all on Twitter. There is no alternative that
mess,
works
though.
for
True.
sports media. I think more specifically for what we do in sports, there's no better platform than on Twitter where you can have your conversations with people. You can get your news. Instagram's not that. Threads isn't that because not everyone went there. There is no alternative at the very least when it comes to sports that is better than Twitter or X or whatever the hell you want to call it.
What I hate is waking up and seeing, something got retweeted 15 times. And I go, okay, well, who's doing this? Oh, and it's all porn bots. I'm like, where the hell did this come from? You just got to report and block them all.
Porn bots
One by
just
one.
love.
Oh, you report and block them? You don't look at them?
I'm
Porn
assuming
bots?
if I did that, then I would just get more porn bots. Wouldn't the algorithm just say, hey, this guy likes porn bots?
He goes from 15 to 30 likes, and then it's also 45, and it just keeps going.
Oh, what's this?
All because he clicked it once because you said so, Tommy.
Yeah. All right, Tom says it's okay. I guess I will.
There's like sometimes the replies now they're really wonky now, like the replies, and then it says like view not suitable replies, and
Right.
then it's always like hey, want to hang out tonight? And it's obviously a porn bot with a photo, and you click look, and you're like, oh, look at that. All right, I could see why that was being blocked out.
Right. And then you get 5 more of them the next day.
Yeah. Oh yeah, I have been getting more of those.
There you go.
What's up?
Just a tweet that's
Oh.
very cryptic that's out there.
Okay.
Interesting.
What are you getting a lot of?
Porn bots as
Still,
well.
you
Well, not
love
as
that.
many as Guy, but more.
Porn bots, huge junior hockey fans. They're big into junior hockey. You know, they're all into that. So, yeah, I've actually I tweet less. I you have to sort through a little more crap, but I still get a lot of info from that app. Still, like there's still like it is this again as I already said. That's where a lot of the sports people migrate still, and that's where the insiders are. That's where we got we got the details of the Ohtani news. We got Ohtani from Instagram because he posted on Instagram. But still, I first saw it on Twitter because someone posted it on Twitter type thing. And it's just...
Do you have a business one and a personal one?
Nope. I have wanted to create a burner account, but I've never done it.
No.
Oh my, I want to see a Matt Iwanyk burner.
I can speak about what it would be off the air. But no, it's it's a personal account that because I signed up in like 2008 or something. So it's been my account
Matthew
for a long
Iwanyk's
time. But it's-
opinionated.
Well,
How-
that's the thing. So it is just who I am now. So it's just like there's no
Right.
point in creating an alternative one because I've already sewered mine.
I guess.
everybody would know who it was as soon as it started sticking up for you anyways.
Yeah.
Most hated guy
Yeah.
on radio.
I'll have a burner account just to go against me.
You'd be the opposite. Most people would
called
go
Surveyor
from their
Brett.
business account to a personal one. You'd go the opposite. You're a personal guy, and you'd have to create a
business one that's
a
just
Yank
separate.
sports talk.
Right.
Iwanyk.
Yeah. See, I've never put where I work in my handle or something.
No?
Now you're your own company, like you're your own thing. So, but I've never put 1260 or
Your
TSN in
views
there.
do not represent those of your employer.
That was on mine for a little bit. Actually, one point I got in trouble for something I tweeted.
Really? You?
I know, right?
Come on.
And that one actually wasn't that bad to me, but it wasn't at someone or something that I scrubbed, like there was no TSN picture of mine. There was nothing TSN related on my thing because I was told by my boss at the time, well, even if you have like I had a picture cover photo that had like a TSN mic flash in there, and like that people will relate it to us. I was like, okay, cool. And I got rid of it all so they couldn't say anything. And basically in the end it was just like even my bio didn't say anything of where I work. Actually, I don't even think I've changed it. So I scrubbed everything, and then I was like, well, fine, it's my account.
Well,
Screw you guys.
good.
So,
Scalding Gord with a great take. Iwanyk already has a burner account. I believe he goes by Danielle Smith.
Like, I mean,
That's toasty.
Maybe don't sugarcoat it. Just tell them how you really feel, Gord. Wow. There it is.
I can't go on air with
Scalding
this
Gord
one.
has been kind of picking
There
at
it
you
is.
today.
No, he always does that. Too.
I know. You guys have a good thing going. It's kind of funny.
No, it was after I could tell you that me and Eric had a big plan for when I was like going 1260 of what to do, but I wish it kind of did that.
Well
Fun
played,
times.
Scalding Gord. That's funny. Can you? Jasmine texted in asking what the question for the ticket draw was.
Yeah,
again.
if you want
Just one more
to
time.
win some tickets to the Edmonton Oilers taking on the Tampa Bay Lightning tomorrow, we got a pair of tickets. Thanks to Mark with of 85 Weld Co. Just which former Oiler was part of the Tampa Bay Lightning as they won the Cups recently. 780-218-9999. If you are correct, texting that in, you'll go into a draw, which we'll announce on the Oil stream later today of the winner of the tickets to Oilers Bolts tomorrow night. I always like the Bolts.
They're
Maybe
fun
it
to
is.
watch.
Maybe it is because of 04. Like straight up. It might be
05,
because they beat the Flames. That I'll always have that soft spot. It's back to like to where I cheered for. Maybe I'll always have that soft spot. But
too, man.
I'll never have bad things to say about
Stamkos is
Tampa.
easy to love, and
I love John Cooper.
Hedman.
Yeah, he's
it's
very
an easy guy to cheer for.
easy
That's
to.
good.
Yeah, he's
Well
likable.
said.
He's
Very
just
likable.
a top
I like the way he's
coach
done it.
too, and I don't know that I know people could be upset with the Kucherov LTIR and stuff,
Win at every level.
but still they built a good team. I always like Stevie Y,
Their jerseys are nice and clean.
Yeah.
Once they updated them from
They
the
look-
old.
the Vinny LeCavalier type
Yeah,
look.
didn't like those ones.
They look like Toronto.
Yeah.
Right now,
Yeah, they look exactly like
no,
the
they
Maple
look like
Leafs.
blue
They're
Detroit.
clean though, at
or
least.
blue Detroit. Yeah,
that makes sense. The Toronto was maybe to convince Steven Stamkos to stay. He wanted to play for Toronto, but it was like, hey, you could look like you're in Toronto,
Maybe they're
but
trying to
still in
convince
Tampa.
Yzerman to stay.
Hey, now.
How much credit does he get for those cups?
Lots.
Does
Yeah,
he?
kinda
Wasn't
built
he the guy that
base
built
there,
them?
right?
Yeah.
Most of them. Most of it, but Breezeball made some really good moves.
fine-tuned some things,
You know,
yeah.
fine-tuned to
Very
get them
shrewd.
over that hump. And
Breezeball went and got those guys that had like 2-3 years left on their contract and gave up the assets for them. That was the ballsy thing, you know, like the Hague trade and some of those before then that were, you know, get a guy on contract for 2 or 3 years and Coleman and what were those some of those other trades he made. But you know, I think that was impressive. And the way he could turn over his roster, right?
Yeah.
Like let some of those Platts and whoever go and still be able to find the next guy coming.
I liked Andre Palat.
Yep.
Diesel also taking a shot at
is
you.
that WB?
Might be.
Is that Warren?
I don't know if it's Warren. It just says Diesel,
Okay.
Warren Buffett.
not Warren.
Barris.
Warren
from the Bears.
Barris.
I know.
If Warren's watching or listening, hello Warren. Good morning, sir. Diesel says Iwanyk will be watching glorious episodes of Maury from his palatial downtown apartment, and then
That's
I
Warren.
believe he has your
That is a Warren.
burner account handle. If anybody's wondering, it's Yoshi Lover 69.
That is 100% Warren.
So that's Warren. Okay, good.
Yeah, no, so Yoshi, great.
Yeah. well,
Yoshi. You guys love Yoshi
Lovable.
from Nintendo?
Absolutely.
I never played Mario Brothers ever.
Okay, but you're not
Really?
against Yoshi at least.
Yoshi's
Warren hates Yoshi.
lovable.
Why can you be
'cause
against
he's-
the mushroom?
He's the little dinosaur guy.
Yes.
Oh, dinosaur. My
Okay.
bad.
No, I don't know. Warren is just weird. He's not smart. I will say that, Warren,
boy.
because he doesn't understand things properly. Him and I got a massive debates for a number of years on the Bear about me being right, him being wrong, because I said Yoshi's the greatest, and he just doesn't want to accept that. And we did 2 different Twitter polls. And I won both those handily. That's right, Warren. I won both of those. And so actually what happened is when he was a part of our Nasty Club and I shipped him his bundle and I put a picture of Yoshi. So right when it opens,
saw that.
Yoshi is right there. He was not pleased with that one. But no, yeah, because the Maury reference, I used to love watching Maury at the old place.
Yeah,
I
well,
would
you
get
had that
into a
TV
kick-
in
I
your
had the-
office. You and
and-
Dave would just sit there.
I loved, like, I'd go through a stretch every so often where, like, for a month, I'd watch Maury.
Are we talking about Maury Povich?
Yes,
you are not
100%.
the father, yeah.
100%.
Wow.
It was so much fun. Like, it's at a certain point, you go like, hey, I'm tired. I need to stop watching this for a while. And then a few months later, you're like, back to watching Maury. It was the best. It was so, like, I'm Not the Father or Boot Camp or just all those weird stories. That garbage TV is wonderful to listen to on the side as you're working.
You would watch that, like Maury Povich
Yes.
and Jerry Springer and Dr. Phil, I guess, to a certain
I
extent.
never watched
And
Dr. Phil.
Anyway, like just that category.
I
and
had
you're
a
like,
line here, Tommy.
naturally. But you go, are these people real? And they are. And it's scary.
They're kind of real.
Yeah.
They're just a
Some
real
are.
person playing
Yeah,
a
yeah,
character.
yeah,
but-
yeah.
No, Maury was great, though. I loved watching Maury. It was some great afternoon viewing. And then
Some weird stuff on there.
Absolutely. So yeah, that's how I know for sure it was Warren, because he's got the deep cuts in there.
Yeah. Okay.
So also I beat him in Buck Hunter. Ask him about that sometime.
You ask him. He's listening right now.
No, I'm telling you, you can ask him about it. Like I beat Warren in Buck Hunter, and he was not happy about that. So we're at our Christmas unsanctioned party, and
Long live the unsanctioned.
absolutely. But
Here.
I went closer to the screen to shoot.
Oh, that's bad.
And Warren's like, you're not allowed to do that and all
He's
this.
right.
He emailed the company. And they said it's not supposed to have worked, but if it works, it works. So like I had the company say I was right, basically, or like I had no problems.
You ain't cheating, you ain't trying, Tommy.
That's a good point.
The company says it wasn't supposed to work. So if it's not like I got it worked.
No, he
I
is
got
a
it to
true
work.
heel. Yeah, and he lives up to that.
I was the champ of Buck Hunter, and Yoshi's the best.
Okay,
Well done.
what are the pros and cons of Yoshi?
Everything.
It's
lovable, great character, excellent
Fun
at
to
Mario Kart.
use.
Nice speed,
Nice smile,
nice agility.
pretty eyes.
Mario Golf, it's got a nice straight shot.
as opposed to like
Yoshi's an
A
Oilers
draw
fan.
or a fade or
Right.
something's got a nice straight shot.
okay, so
Just keep going.
Wario has a worse golf shot.
More power to
I don't
Wario,
know.
but it's a little hard. Like it's a little harder to maintain.
Lord.
So, well, Mario Kart, I don't know. I wouldn't take Wario over Mario Kart. Just a little slower.
Wario is a little past my time in the Mario world.
Mario
Like,
Kart
but-
64.
Yeah, I didn't. I went PlayStation, and I haven't looked back.
Well
My
done.
PlayStation
And
4
64
is
was
on
the
the cusp
way to
of
go.
blowing up. I could tell you that much. I need to get a PS5 here.
You don't have a PS5?
No, I don't.
Holy.
I've been
I don't even have a PS4. As PS3 is my last gaming system.
damn. I need
Wow.
to get one.
You?
Even
PS.
Gager
Yeah, we have a
says I need to
PS5.
get one.
Game all
PS4,
the
that's
time.
like a landline. Maybe you can hook that thing up to your land.
I do not game all the
Yeah.
time.
No.
No. I am a terrible gamer. My son
You're
is
gonna get
an awesome
GTA
gamer.
6 though, right?
I probably will. My son will for
That
sure.
looks sick.
Okay, but 2025.
Yeah,
They sent
so-
out a trailer for 2025. Like,
Yeah.
Yeah.
I'm
This game
intrigued
is gonna be
why it's
epic.
Yes,
Oh,
GTA
really?
6.
People are still
Trailer
playing
came out.
GTA 5. It came out 10 years ago.
I know, but like I couldn't believe when I saw that it was going to be 2025 that it comes out.
Yeah.
Great song selection for that trailer.
The Tom
too.
Petty
The
song?
Tom Petty. It just works so perfect with all
I
that.
thought of you when I saw that,
Yeah,
actually.
Like,
Nobody's a Petty fan like Maddie is.
love
I saw Tom Petty at Rexall.
Oh.
Such a good show.
that hurts me so much.
Such a good
Not
show.
gonna lie.
And he was high as hell.
Of course.
And he told
shocking.
everyone, he's like, I might have
day that ends
smoked
in
quite a
Y.
bit. And he's like, I just feel like playing. And I think it was like a 3-hour concert. Phenomenal.
You been to a Welly Nelson show where he ain't high?
No, that's impossible.
There's a few.
That's going to wrap up the EST Hangout for this Wednesday. Up next, it is the Lock Shop, Dusty and Huss, followed by the Oil Stream at noon with Tommy and Dusty. Dash, thanks for coming on. 5 o'clock tonight, right here in Edmonton Sports Talk. It is Oilers Live, Heavy Hockey Network. Obviously, recapping Oilers win over the Blackhawks yesterday, 8 straight. You and Michael?
Yeah. We'll talk a little bit about that and whatever else is going on around the NHL, and we'll be back in a few hours.
Guy Flaming, Pipeline Show, dropping usually again Fridays. Can catch it right here at Edmonton Sports Talk, Saturday at noon or Monday the replay at 8 o'clock.
You got it.
Kind of just the wrap up last little bit before the Christmas break type thing.
Yeah, World Junior Preview coming up and a couple of draft eligible players this week as well. So, yeah, it'll be a good show. Thanks to Fall
Key?
Coffee.
They're all good shows.
Dash. Guy and Dash, thanks for coming on. On behalf of Dash, Guy, Tommy, I'm Matt. Thanks for tuning in to the EST Hangout. Like I said, the Lock Shop coming up next with Dusty and Huss. That's going to be just in a few minutes right here on Edmonton Sports Talk and EdmontonSportsTalk.com.